Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show is live on your YouTube machine. How the heck are you? It is another historic day in college football realignment. 30 seconds away from breaking news after I tell you about our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business are The Advocates. You know, the best thing about The Advocates is they care about their communities. It's why they do things like help homeless kids have supplies to go back to school. They really care about the communities they serve. Check them out online, theadvocates.com, where you can chat with an attorney for free, no cost. You never reach into your pocket to pay for The Advocates. You don't pay The Advocates unless and until they win your case. Theadvocates.com, the Monty Show, ready to rock and roll. And right out of the gate, let's not even hesitate. Let's get to this breaking news, because I do think this is a significant story. According to multiple sources now, the ACC is working to add Stanford and Cal. And obviously, you know the complexities of the ACC conference. They have all this strife around Clemson and Florida State. You know, there was some reporting today from The Athletic that Florida State was trying to get out to get to the SEC, and that they were going to raise the funds, the $120 million. There's all kinds of issues. I would remind you, getting out of the ACC is not just about paying the $120 million. You have to get out of your grant of rights. You can pay the $120. That does not release your TV product. So keep that in mind. But of course, you know that now the Pac-12 is dead. They have 4 remaining teams after this season: Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State. And it, would appear that Stanford and Cal have a great interest in joining the ACC. Now, I think the biggest question is ACC or Mountain West. Certainly as far as high profiles go, we can all agree the ACC is going to bring you more reach, which, you know, on this show, we always tell you more reach equals more money. From a money standpoint, that makes a lot more sense. But from a logistics standpoint, being the only Western teams in the ACC, Stanford and Cal, I don't know, Jake, how that works out travel-wise. I think the biggest question is, are Stanford and Cal better going to the ACC or the Mountain West?
Yeah, I mean, I think the travel is obviously the biggest hurdle, but what I think is really not negotiable is the fact that, you know, the ACC just simply is going to make you much more money than the Mountain West would. And of course, that, you know, if you were to go to the Mountain West, that TV, deal, that grant of rights would obviously have to be renegotiated, and that number would go up. And so, you know, it wouldn't be $4 million that Stanford and Cal would be getting. Obviously, I would feel comfortable saying they'd get 10, 11, maybe even 12 million, something like that. But there's no getting away from the fact that ultimately, you know, the ACC, in my opinion, is a better fit, even with the travel, because what you need, like he just said, is you need reach, but ultimately you need revenue. You know, last week was a historic week in college football. We saw teams, you know, going places that 10 years ago we never thought was possible. We never thought the Big 12 would be in this position. We never thought that, you know, the Pac-12, when it was USC versus Texas and Vince Young and all this great stuff, at that time you never would have thought to yourself that, man, this conference is going to dissolve and they're going to lose most of their membership to the Big 12 and a small chunk of it to the Big 10. You never would have thought that. So if I'm Stanford and Cal, I'm not going to take a risk on a low money grant of rights situation. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find the most reliable and stable financial position that I can get myself into. And then I'm going to task the marketing team with coming up with a positive spin for how in the hell we're going to get on the jet and fly across the country, man.
Listen, man, I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying you're wrong. The ACC TV deal is $23 million a year till 2037. How can you do that if you're Stanford and Cal? And by the way, there is a California Board of Regents meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. If you're Cal, you're already in a financial hole. We've talked about this at length. Memorial Stadium, which is the football stadium in Cal Berkeley, where Cal plays their home games, has been a financial disaster since they had it rebuilt. They really have not been able to win on any kind of consistent level. They're on the verge of another coaching change after this season. How are you going to go from the Pac-12 10-4 to the ACC when you just said no to essentially the same deal, $20 million a year from Apple? Now you're going to the ACC and you're going to add significant travel costs. And I'm not even talking about football and basketball. I think one of the things that people forget about so much is that at most universities, your travel cost is eaten up by softball and baseball and tennis and golf and gymnastics. When you have to fly across the country with your soccer team, if you are Cal and you're going to go and play Georgia Tech, that's not a overnight or flying on a Friday for a Saturday morning football game, fly home Saturday afternoon. That is a week's long trip. And there's probably a lot of that trip where you end up in a van at some point and you're driving up and down the East Coast. You're driving to Georgia Tech. You're like, I look at this idea, and this is, I think, the first time, and Jake, back me up on this. I think this is the first time I'm going to say this. I agree with the people who would argue this is terrible for the college athlete. This, because if you are the Stanford rowing team, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
And the bigger question is, if you're Stanford and Cal, how many of these sports do you eliminate to avoid this exact problem?
Well, and I think that's really the crux of the conversation. Like, obviously, travel is a huge hurdle. And I think now that realignment is here, this is a topic that now has to be vetted out. Hey, how can we, what is the solution for a West Coast team being in a predominantly East Coast conference and finding, like, logistically how we can make it work for our student athletes? I think that is a conundrum that can't just be thrown under the rug and said, well, it doesn't work for us. But we're past that now. College athletics is in a position now where, because of realignment, and I saw everyone over the weekend complaining and saying the world was ending for college athletes because of realignment. I saw that. And while I don't disagree that some of these programs are going to have tougher travel schedules, the reality of the situation is that any athlete, if you love what you do, if you're at a point where you're playing D1 college athletics of any variety, even if you throw football and basketball to the side, if you're on the rowing team, dude, if you love it that much, most of those kids are going to be willing to put up with it. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it proper, but they're going to put up with it. And so I think if you're these institutions, you would rather be in a place where you're saying, okay, we're going to make $23 million a year on linear, not on Apple, right? Which is a big difference also. I don't think it is the same deal. You're on linear. You're not just on Apple, but $23 million a year, and we're going to have to travel a lot more. So how can we work with our other athletic, departments to make that travel a little bit better? I think that's the conversation ADs have to have. You have to streamline it somehow, and I don't know what that answer is.
Yeah, with the ACC grant of rights, I don't see this as possible. I truly do not. And then I ask this question very frankly. How much damage has Florida State done to this conference? Because if you add Stanford and Cal, are you going to give them a full share? Because Florida State's been sitting here bitching and moaning about how much money they've made the conference and how they deserve the bulk of the money, and they went out so they can go get their SEC $50 million a year. So here's the question. If you're Stanford and Cal, should you expect to join the ACC at a full share?
Yes.
I don't think Florida State's going to approve that.
Well, respectfully, I don't think it's up to Florida State. The paperwork says what the paperwork says. And again, I also think it's a really important point in realignment. Institutions can be upset. They can complain. They can run their mouth. They can hire lawyers for a year to go through the grant of rights and find loopholes. Like, we know Florida State's been doing all that stuff. The reality of the situation is you can bark as loud as you want to bark. You're not getting out of this thing. And it's not up to Florida State whether Stanford and Cal get a full share. Now, will they be upset? Will that cause a big problem with Florida State? Well, it's going to.
But if Florida State, and again, I just disagree with you. If Florida State causes problems more than they already have, and I think they will. That's just my opinion.
I agree with you on that. They will.
I think Florida State is never going to approve, and maybe one vote doesn't matter. They're never going to approve full shares for Stanford and Cal because Florida State thinks that they are just sliced bread, brother. They think they are the top of the mountain. I think they're full of baloney. I think that's all hot air. I think Florida State is committing the Kliavkoff, which is let's overvalue ourselves significantly and trash everybody who's around us who we need to break the grant of rights so it won't happen. But then when Stanford and Cal come to the conference, we're going to demand that they get a 50% share. So you really think Stanford and Cal are coming to the ACC for $12.5 million?
Go to the Mountain West.
That's absurdity.
Yeah. At that point, you'd go to the Mountain West.
Because if you add, and this is, again, I think this is a big part of this equation as we talk about breaking news, that the ACC is working to add Stanford and Cal. If you are Stanford and Cal and you go and you get gross money, let's say, not net, gross, the check you're getting is $23.5 million. Let's just say they get a full share in the ACC. What's that net out to?
God, it has to only be probably 10 to 12, right? After travel costs and
travel,
everything.
hotel.
Yeah.
You're going to have to staff up because you're going to need more educational infrastructure for those kids on the road. Like, I don't see any scenario where this version of the SEC is better. And it's going to take more TV money. It is going to take more than just Stanford and Cal. You had better get, and I never thought I'd say this, Oregon State and Washington State. You need places where you don't have to go travel the coast because you're going to go to the Virginias. You're going to go to Carolina. You're going to go to Florida State and Miami. And I don't see how this makes any sense at all.
Well, I just don't. Look, I don't think it doesn't obviously, it's not like 1 + 1 = 2. We're far from it being simple. But I think the reality of the situation is that geography is obviously the biggest challenge in this whole thing. I mean, again, if Stanford was in Pennsylvania, they'd already be in the conference. Let's be honest about it. But they're not. And I don't think that while Stanford can be in the Mountain West, like they could do that, but I don't think they're a great fit in the Mountain West just on its face. And the problem is that the Big 10 and the Big 12 don't want to expand more right now necessarily, right? They don't want to balloon their conferences up to, 20 and 22. And like, they don't want to get to that level yet because they know that ACC grant of rights is going to be a problem in 2036. And really, if we're honest about it, those conversations are probably starting in 2034, right? The ACC is going to want to get on with business as soon as they can get on with business. So if I'm the ACC, I'm desperately trying to court Cal and Stanford because I want any angle I can get to reopen negotiations with my TV partners on our grant of rights. And I'm not saying that I've read every single word in their grant of rights and their legal documents, but I got to believe if you're adding to the conference and you can start a conversation with a TV partner, maybe there's a path to reworking this whole situation. Because if the 2036 deadline was to be massaged and moved and you could renegotiate that and Florida State could pack their stuff and leave and you could get rid of that whole conundrum, like, okay, there's things that we can work on in conversation. But right now, the travel's a huge problem. And the money's a huge problem.
This is stupidity. Look at this. Look at this map of the ACC. And how practical is this? Your western enclaves are Louisville, Kentucky, and South Bend, Indiana. And you're already, I'm not even talking about Boston College.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, North Carolina State. I'm not even talking about Miami, or I'm talking about just how arduous is it to get your track and field team and all their equipment to Louisville? How arduous is it to get your water polo team to Raleigh-Durham so that you can do a Georgia Tech, Clemson, Wake Forest, Carolina, Duke, NC State tour?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, it's funny having spent times around like minor league teams and professional teams. Like travel is something that every sports organization has to deal with. The biggest difference here, though, And I think the main thing here is just the sheer size of what we're talking about, right? It's one thing to move, like in the NFL. It's one thing to move, probably 400 people, right?
Probably.
Like you've got a 50 man roster, all the head coach. Okay, let's call 500 people for a road trip in the NFL, just to be generous. 500 people go to London for the London series, or Germany for the Germany series. You understand that in the NFL, they go out a week in advance. That's how they do that. And
on
some
a
teams
chartered
go further.
flight.
Right.
They go out on a chartered flight. They have coach class buses. So, and again, I'm not even worried about basketball. I am not worried about football, right? That's all built-in infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm worried about softball. I'm worried about hockey. I'm worried about, I look at some of these club sports, those die. It's over. They're dead. There's no way to, if you're Cal, are you driving a truck across the country for your track and field team, for your, rowing? Again, I'll go to rowing. I'll go to any of these, baseball and softball. Those are not revenue generating sports, but they're major men's and women's sports programs.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going on a 2-week road trip to the great eastern, southeast corner of the country?
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking at right now. I don't know how else you would do it. And I think this other question that I saw posed a lot over the weekend was, hey, why can't we get to a place in college sports where football and basketball are separate from, the rest of the non-revenue generators from a grant of rights perspective? Like, just because, as an example, Oregon in football and basketball is in the Big Ten, why can't their conference affiliate? Right. Notre Dame. Perfect example, right? Free agent in football, ACC affiliate, and everything else, right? Like, why can't we do that when it comes to realignment? And the answer is the grant of rights system is broken. It does not work from a number of different angles, but there's not a better solution right now.
Because nobody puts college swimming on ESPN.
Yeah.
You don't often see track and field, cross country, water polo, lacrosse, field hockey, soccer, women's soccer, men's college soccer. Maybe once or twice a year, you accidentally trip and fall on that.
Well, it's like the College World Series in softball or baseball, or like the big championship time in the season. Sometimes you will see, college and baseball and softball obviously are always on ESPN, but like soccer, or like sometimes you'll see lacrosse. Like, there are some one-off opportunities that happen, but the issue is that there's no good system in place that's universally accepted among the hundreds of member institutions, where you can have your football program and basketball program in one conference and everyone else can stay local to minimize travel costs.
Think about Stanford volleyball.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding, there's a chance a lot of these lesser sports go away. I can't see baseball, softball, volleyball going away. At Stanford, I don't think they're ever going to eliminate swimming.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you're a lacrosse player, it sucks. This is the question I always have. You're making billions of dollars in the NCAA, and we're talking about eliminating educational opportunities for young people in this country because we can't get conference realignment right.
Yeah.
Because George Kliavkoff and Larry Scott are incompetent imbeciles who don't know how to operate in college sports.
Facts.
That's why this conversation's happening. And it's again completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
We should be talking about the Big 12 being dead and the Pac-12 dominating, but you had two guys running this conference who couldn't do it. So now we're talking about Stanford and Cal joining the ACC and killing lower level sports.
Yeah.
It's
a tragedy.
It's
There's no way
brutal.
around it, dude. I mean, some people will tell you that using the word tragedy to describe this situation with the remnants of the Pac-12 is too strong. And I'm on the contrary. I think it's proper. I think it perfectly describes the conundrum that these four schools find themselves in. We haven't even gotten to bad budgeting in athletic departments or bad business ops in athletic departments, right? Like at least Stanford, and this is kind of what we talked about a lot last week. Dude, Stanford is quite literally one of the best athletic programs or athletic departments in the entire country, which is why conferences want Stanford.
You had 12 teams in the Pac-12. You let one of them, Carol Folt at USC, cut you off at the knees and you never recovered from it. And you had 11 other presidents. Well, let's call it 10 because UCLA went with USC.
Sure.
You had 10 other presidents who just were like, nah, George has got this. George Kliavkoff is totally in control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we are where we are today. And I don't know how to explain it. And I'll be honest with you, it really frustrates me. Excuse me. It really frustrates me that this Pac-12 is dead. And we're getting all kinds of press conferences now. And like I listened to Bobby Robbins at Arizona today talk about the situation in the conference and why the Pac-12 melted down. And as we talk about this whole ACC, Stanford and Cal thing, I want you to listen to this bite from Bobby Robbins, the president at the University of Arizona, and listen to the way he describes what was pitched to the conference by George Kliavkoff and his team on Apple.
I think the keys were the $23 million a year per school and no games on linear access. I think those were the two things that were problematic for people when they were evaluating the long-term sustainability of the contract. And, of course, that it was subscription-based.
Dude, I mean,
unbelievable.
You're asking a Power 5 conference to, so wait, look, we got to get travel done. We got to get budgeting done. We got to get all this stuff done to make this huge machine of a business run. And then we still have to sell subscriptions. That's incredible. And the best point I feel like you've made so far is that, hey, there's all these billions of dollars. The well is not dry. In fact, it's quite the opposite, yet we can't get this figured out.
So frustrating. And I look at all of this talk with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are supposedly, according to our sources anyway, in talks for a merger. And I feel like there's a drag race going on between the Mountain West and the ACC. And I would agree with you on Stanford. Stanford feels like that brand does not feel like a comfortable, logical fit in the Mountain West.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as we've known, and if you listen to the show, you know we nailed conference realignment. We knew USC and UCLA were not going to be out west by themselves in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that. And now they've got Washington and Oregon. Solves their financial trouble. Done. Like their travel stuff, like you can handle the occasional trip out to see Maryland. You can handle the occasional trip out to see Rutgers. Because the most of your stuff is in a good travel zone. But when you look at this right here, ask yourself this question. You're looking at Oregon State going to the Mountain West. What did the Big 12 not get in expansion? What did you say to me today? Hey, by the way, Brett Yormark didn't get
Pacific time zone, a dedicated Pacific time zone conference, a team that, or not a team, an institution that is located truly in the Pacific time zone. Because everyone's like, oh, well, wait, the Arizona schools, Arizona and ASU, they're Pacific time zone part of the year. Yeah, that might be true, but they're not in the Pacific.
Arizona's in the mountain in the mountain time zone, essentially.
Right. And so Brett Yormark wants, hey, you're on the west coast of the country. You are Oregon State, full-time Pacific time zone team.
Gonzaga.
P5, basketball, football, Gonzaga, basketball only, but great athletic department, huge value to the Big 12. That's what Brett Yormark wants. And so that's why I really am confused as to why Oregon State got left out, because Stanford and Cal, I can kind of understand at least, right? Like, okay, Stanford's a great athletic department, one of the best in the country. Unfortunately, though, they struggle to make money in their athletic department,
yes.
Right? So that, unfortunately, right now in today's climate is a big issue. Oregon State, on the other hand, while they are also not a nationally relevant team, they are a team that can cover their costs with their athletic department, right? They're a team that's a 10-win football program, I could easily see Oregon State scratching into the top 25, most seasons. Like, they're a team that's moving the right direction. So you give them funding, you give them new opportunity, you figure that's a team that can come up, and they're in the Pacific time zone. So I'm really surprised, frankly, that Oregon State got left out. But unfortunately, it's a numbers game.
And by the way, I'm not doing the Arizona time argument today. Arizona never.
So that's how it's going to be.
Arizona never changes time. They never change time. It's always like right now, it's always 2:25 in Arizona because they don't. So this idea that Arizona's fully in the Pacific time zone, which I see in the comments, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not. So Brett Yormark didn't get the Pacific time zone. Now, you had Gonzaga and Spokane, where you had Oregon State and Corvallis. Okay, it solves that problem. But I am not convinced, and I know that Oregon State has been in the last 48 hours talking to the Big 12. I am not convinced that they're going to get that Pacific time zone with Oregon State. I would more believe, because we heard very passionately on Saturday that the Big 12 was talking to Gonzaga about joining the conference. And Gonzaga is a very big lift to the Big 12 because they play every sport pretty much but football.
Gonzaga.
Basketball powerhouse, but things like a baseball program that's amazing. Gonzaga actually brings a lot of athletic value. And this is the problem with not going after Stanford. Because Stanford, and I know you hate when I say this, Stanford is arguably the best athletic department in the country. They win. Now, granted, they've been down in football and basketball, but they have shown you when they spend money and resources, they win. They're one of the best athletic departments in the country. And yet they're going to wind up in the ACC. And I hate it. And if I am the Mountain West, Gloria Navarez, the commissioner, has to be aggressive right now. They have got to get Oregon State and Washington State. It is a must. It helps them with their TV partners. It will get them more money in their TV contract. And if it is true, I've heard 3-4 times in the last 2 days, San Diego State is talking to the Big 12 as well, which I don't believe that deal gets done. I think San Diego State much more values continuity, and I think they are licking their wounds from the Pac-12. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with those schools.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just going to sit here and tell you on this ACC Stanford Cal story. Number one, you look at what's on the docket tomorrow morning in Berkeley, and it is a Board of Regents meeting, and they're specifically talking about UC Berkeley Pac-12 conference membership.
Pack everything up. We're out of here.
This meeting, which is a closed session, is 100% about Cal Berkeley athletics. So the wheels are turning. And I think something's going to happen. Again, I think these things generally take 5 to 7 business days to get done.
Yeah.
That's what we've seen in this cycle. And I have no doubt this week that more business will be done. I do. Okay, less of us, more of you. I want to remind you while you're hitting the like button, and please, if you are not subscribed to the channel, all 2,000 of you watching the show right now, we are trying to get to 25,000 subs by kickoff of football season. We are just 502 away from 23,000. If you're not subscribed, can we get that done right now? Let's do it. Hit the like button. If you're new to the show, our minimum is 1,000 likes a show. But we'd really like to get to 23,000 today. That is just 502 subs. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. We really appreciate that. I want to remind you this week, we are giving away tickets to see Baylor and Texas. That is in Waco. That is on the 23rd of September. And it's presented by our good friends at TryDayTrading.com. It's really easy to enter this contest. For all of our Texas contingent, bless you, friends. We love the fact that we have a huge Baylor following. We love the fact that we have a huge Texas Longhorn following on the show. Thank you guys for being here. We love every one of you. This is your contest. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. And all you have to do is sign up for your $10 trial membership at TryDayTrading.com. That's all you have to do. It's a $10 charitable donation. So really at the end of the day, it is a tax write-off, and you get 30 days of awesomeness with TryDayTrading.com. I'll remind you quickly, if you didn't make $1,000 at work today, if you hate your boss, if you're pissed you're back in the office, if you're upset about the job you're doing or your soul is dying, start your own business. Work for yourself. Do it with our friends at TryDayTrading.com. I'm telling you, part-timers make $300 to $500 a day, doing about an hour and a half of work in the morning. We have so many listeners that are part-time day traders now. They program their algorithms in the morning. They go to work, they come home, and they count how much money they made that day in day trading. You can do it full-time. You can do it part-time. You can work from home. You don't have to worry about your boss because you're your own boss. Well, you should probably shower occasionally, but you know, TryDayTrading.com. So go there, sign up for the $10 charity. Show us that you're into the 30-day trial membership for your $10 charity donation. You're entered to win the contest.
Yep.
The tickets to see Texas at Baylor September 23rd. We'll announce the winner on Friday. We've had a good bit of people have entered the contest already. Telling you, it's going to change your life. TryDayTrading.com. $10 30-day trial membership. Sign up. Take a screenshot, tag us on Twitter or Instagram, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show, to hook it up. All right, let's get your comments in here. Anything on conference realignment you want to talk about? My passionate take today is we got to stop slandering the members of the Pac-12 that left the conference.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop doing that. I thought Taylor Randall at Utah today was spectacular. He really, I thought, laid out everything that you wanted to know about why Utah did. But listen to what Taylor Randall says. He's asked a really poor question here. But listen to his answer when he's asked about television.
Dr. Crow, in his remarks on Saturday, referred to the media overlords. Do you believe that what happened with the Pac-12 happened because Fox and ESPN find these schools more valuable apart than they do together?
I'm just going to quote Harlan, give me a break.
That's fair.
No, anyway, look, you know, media is part of it, but so is building an incredible league that wants to stay together. When you think about this from a university president's perspective, you're looking broader than just the dollars and cents. You got to keep an athletic program healthy, so it's got to meet some minimum viability for sure. But on the margin, you're not going to choose for $1 million or $2 million. You know, here you're thinking about the long-term view of the university and where you need to position it, and I'm sure that's what the other presidents were doing as well.
Stop blaming the universities. Stop blaming the TV industry. Go to the source. You had, and the universities carry some blame for the incompetence of Larry Scott and George Kliavkoff in the Pac-12.
Right.
There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Stop blaming ESPN for, you know, your dog crapping on your rug. Not everything is ESPN's fault, man. Not everything is Fox's fault. The Pac-12 had deals they could have made and chose not to make them. And then they got outmaneuvered by Brett Yormark in the Big 12. And really, they got outmaneuvered by ESPN. They got outmaneuvered by USC and UCLA and Stanford Oregon and Washington. They got outmaneuvered, period.
Sorry, folks, that's what it is.
Blaming the universities that find themselves in the Big 10 and the Big 12 as being, you know, they're just money grubbing. So college sports shouldn't be worried about money when Cal's broke, when we know that Washington is very tight financially. Washington State's broke as a joke.
Yeah.
Come on now. That's not realistic. That's there you go. Monty's passionate take of the day. That's what you get.
For real.
That's why you're
nice,
here.
Dude. Nice.
And you're welcome. Cleveland rocks. First one in today. Rocks, good to see you. How about the comment made by the Arizona State AD the very next day after entering the Big 12 about Morgantown?
Mm-hmm.
It was arrogant and unprofessional. The response from the West Virginia AD was pure mic drop on X. He means Twitter.
Mm-hmm. X.
I don't know how many other ways we can say this. Ray Anderson, the athletic director at Arizona State, and Michael Crow, the president at Arizona State, are incompetent. They're just not good at athletics. Michael Crow, the president in Arizona, is phenomenal. Everything else. You just keep him out of athletics. Hire a competent athletic director who can actually speak without embarrassing himself in the university.
Right.
And doesn't hire his best friends and refuses to fire his best friends. Herm Edwards. Hire competent people. Michael Crow, I don't know why he keeps Ray Anderson around. Ray Anderson quite literally said, I'm not even aggrandizing. He said we're a top 15 program at our best, which means they're 15th or lower, and their best is 15th as a football and basketball
what are you talking
program.
about, man?
Congratulated Bobby Hurley, the ASU basketball coach, and Duke legend Bobby Hurley, for turning over his entire roster in the portal 2 years in a row. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know what, Rox? I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. I think it's just crazy. Kaufman for $5. The Monty Show coming to you live from Big 12 country.
I mean, Big 12 country. Now, remember, still got one more year left in Pac-12 country.
But I can see 100 truck stops right out the window. Amazing today that across the mountain region, truck stops popping up everywhere here in the truck stop conference.
I might add the fuel cost is at discount right now too.
Flying J's everywhere.
Yeah.
Truck. Has anybody figured out why truck stop conference is an insult?
No.
I still haven't figured that out.
Me
and
either.
I love that truck stop conference is calling the Pac-12 flyover conference.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Planes fly over every conference.
Yeah.
Just saying. I'm over here trying to figure it out, man. K-Dub with $1.99 says, any update on Gonzaga and other basketball schools to the Big 12? I think the succinct update is it's not if, it's when with Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And I still am not convinced UConn's getting into the Big 12. I'm just not convinced of that.
Yeah, I think it's too much of a pain in the ass, dude. I think the football program is a problem. I think there's not a lot of incentive. Again, you don't have that ace in the hole with geography, right? You're an East Coast team, not a Pacific time zone team.
Yeah.
So, if UConn was in Washington, let's say, or Oregon or California, and they had a bad football program, but this dynamite basketball program, we're having a different conversation. But unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to add Gonzaga. And I think once these four schools in the Pac-12, Oregon, why do I keep saying Oregon?
I don't know.
It's time for Buckshot.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
If you feel like you need a boost right now.
The brain and the tongue are not like synced up here at the truck stop.
Well, having tongue syncage is really, ideal.
Well, that was last night. But the point is, in the truck stop right now, the clutch is the clutch and the brake pedal in seventh gear and shit. Okay, cheers.
Pardon me.
See, what happened was I just popped a buckshot. It's all going to be fine. Buckshot from our good friends at Bucked Up Energy, 200 milligrams of caffeine. You guys, I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And I continue to tell you that, one, my voice is not healed as we had hoped that it would be today. Still have a little bit of a cough.
I'm for real.
We actually took bets on it today. We thought my voice was a hundo P because I was able to drop a massive, loud, echoing F-bomb on the 15th tee box yesterday. I got to tell you, that was a great test.
Oh, my God.
It echoed off the mountains up at Canyons Resort. I felt not bad at all about it, but I thought my voice was healed.
Yeah.
But I will say, I did lose another 1.5 pounds over the weekend. We're down 40 pounds now.
Boom.
Right? So we're in great shape. I give it all to my friends at Bucked Up Energy because, listen, when I tell you guys, hey, get to buckedup.com, promo code Monty20 to save 20% off your purchase. Collagen peptides. They have the best protein powder I've ever used. My wife is training for this triathlon I always tell you guys about. She's using their endurance product. Hook it up, buckedup.com, promo code Monty20 in the description below. Get a free sampler pack of their new Buck Bars. I hate protein bars. I've said it for years. The Buck Bar is not a protein bar, friends. It's a piece of dessert. It is indulgent. I look forward to it every day. And its number one ingredient is not sugar. It's not oil. I was fighting it. It's whey protein isolate.
Yes.
The purest form of protein, whey protein isolate. Get it in the description below. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Promo code Monty20 to get 20% off your purchase at buckedup.com. Gary, what's up, my guy? $2. SEC ACC merger. The sack.
See what he did there?
It's the sack of.
It's a combo between the SEC and the ACC, right? And we removed some letters and it spells sack because, we're children on the program.
There's no way to spell balls with SEC and ACC.
Yeah,
so,
Program.
Sack.
And stuff.
Stay hard.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. Mark Thorpe gives us $20. Mark, good to see you, my friend. Looks like you got better looking and probably lost some weight today. You've said repeatedly ASU sports leadership is incompetent and Utah is top notch. They are. Both their recent press conferences reinforce that. Crow and Anderson appeared amateur and awkward. Randall and Harlan were gracious and skilled.
Yes, they were.
What
I agree.
Ray Anderson, the athletic director at ASU, said about West Virginia is embarrassing. I mean, that is, and I think in almost any other instance, that may be a terminable offense. You may be gone. You may be fired for that. And yet at Arizona State, he probably got an extension.
Yep.
And I only half jokingly say that. He said, I'll never go to Morgantown. I'll send one of my assistants. That's the nice way to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Morgantown. I'll send one of my assistants. Okay, cool. They're probably going to replace you or should, but they won't because Michael Crow's a buffoon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's remarkable that passes for professionalism these days.
Yeah, I just think that, and we were having conversations over the weekend. Like, dude, I think when people are friends and they're comfortable, they'll do low grade business. They'll do crap things, and that's just acceptable. And that's the culture at ASU.
Is what it is, right? Is what it is. Stan, dude,
bro, don't die on me, please. It's only Monday, bro.
Stan for $5. Just wanted to let you know I'm tuned in and watching via my 23rd century Star Trek equipment.
Oh, nice, dude. Nice.
Okay. How's Interstellar Life treating you, bro?
I'm for real.
Awesome movie. By the way, I watched Gladiator, the editor's cut.
Maximus. The editor's cut is better.
It is so good. I watched it on my brand new 75-inch Fire TV. We got to talk about that.
Can you measure it?
I had a 75-inch Samsung that wouldn't stream live sports. It just kept buffering. And the people at my internet company were like, yeah, dude, that TV's from 2018. Yeah, technology's advanced since then. The TV's from 2018. And it won't stream live sport. The internet connection in the back. Well, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Thank you for watching the show. Gop, what's up, my guy Gop? Good to see you for $5. Any chance the Big 12 adds 2 more this cycle? I do think there's a chance.
Yeah.
The question is, are you willing to be unbalanced to get Gonzaga? Because I don't see 2 teams that fit in this league. I could easily say Cal and Oregon State. All right, good to go. But if you add Cal and Oregon State, you're at 18. Are you really going to go to 19 with Gonzaga? Man, that seems unlikely. That seems unlikely to me. It really does. Too much gravy for my biscuits, otherwise known as Better Call Saul, who's been a member for 3 months. Bless you, friends. If you want to be a member, hit the join button. For $1.99, all your comments get highlighted. For $9.99, you get access to our members-only Instagram group, which has been fantastic all through this realignment thing.
Chaos.
Says, thanks, Marlon Shaw. Hey, Monty, remember the pack?
Hey,
did Marlon Shaw give us members? He did. Marlon Shaw gives 10 memberships.
Let's go, Marlon. Strong start to the week, bud. Let's go.
Let's go, Marlon Shaw. Love you, dude. Appreciate that. Thank you, Marlon, for giving 10 memberships. Shout out to Tanner Plummer, who's been a member for 7 months today. Wow, look at you guys with the memberships. Aaron Wilson. Pew, pew. Let's go, Lubbock. Do you guys understand? And I'm warning you in Austin, in Dallas, Waco, Houston, tell your friends because Lubbock is now a top 15 market on this show.
I'm for real.
One of the top 15 cities that watch this show. Now, I'm not saying Lubbock is Dallas. It's no different. SMU doesn't deliver Dallas, and neither does Lubbock
County.
And I don't know why I'm changing the twang in my accent to let you know I'm
for
all
real.
hat, no cattle.
Look,
but the
Brian
point is,
Kelly, settle down, okay?
the point is,
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
pew pew. Let's go, Lubbock.
Family.
Good to see you, Aaron Wilson. Thank you for giving 2 memberships.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. See, my friends, it's
magic,
that simple.
bro.
Hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe on the show. Thank you to everybody. We picked up a quick 75. We're at 22,526. Appreciate all of you. Curious, creative, not talented.
Okay.
Who the fuck is that guy?
You seem a little self-deprecating, okay? I'm not saying you're talented based on your picture, your profile picture, or whatever the avatar.
Yeah, it's like a little black square.
Yeah.
There's not much creativity here, as the name said.
Look here, man.
Real creative.
Yeah.
He gives us $10 to say the Apple deal wasn't going to get approved by enough Pac-12 members. The hope was the big. It didn't happen. This is the better option than the Mountain West Conference and Indy, and therefore the best. Well, listen, guys, we told you about this Apple deal. And the funny thing is, somebody was, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, said that it was like selling, Brett McMurphy, Action Network, had a source say to him, we were going to have to sell Boy Scout and Girl Scout cookies or whatever he said.
No, I think Bobby Robbins said that.
Did he really?
I think, let me double check. I'm pretty sure Bobby
somebody
said that.
said exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Which was, this is like going door to door, selling candy bars or trying to get your baseball team's travel for the summer paid for. Like, you're not a minor league sport here. This is a Pac-12. The idea that you are going to have to sell subscriptions just to get to where the Big 12 is means you were probably never going to catch the Big 12 in revenue. And that I know the reports have varied widely, but I'm going to go with what we've reported for the better part of 8 months on this show. It was $20 million. And that's not going to get it done. And again, I just asked Stanford and Cal. If $20 million in the Pac-12 was what you were going to take, okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
But do you really think you can take $23 million from the ACC? And let's be generous, Florida State ain't giving you $23 million. But let's say you get $23 million. Is that a financially viable athletic department?
That was Bobby Robbins.
Man, it was Bobby Robbins.
Yes. And also, going through Brett McMurphy's Twitter, 45 minutes ago, he tweeted that sources are telling him that the Big 12 has no appetite to add any of the Pac-12 schools or San Diego State. The quote is, "We have no interest in doing anything. We're done."
I think San Diego State's dead on arrival in the Big 12.
I just think they made a fool of themselves. And I'm not even trying to be that guy that's hating or anything. I legitimately think if you're Brett Yormark, San Diego State is that program where you're like, dude, like, why would we want to add you? Okay, sure, you could be a budget ad, but the problem is Adela wants a pro rata that she deserves. And I don't think there's any getting away from that. Like, if you're a San Diego State fan, you're probably tired of that being held over your program's head. But when you're going to say something so brazen, so in the face of the process, and you're going to say something that displays that you have no idea how a television contract works, or you have no idea what a pro rata actually is in reality, that's when you lose guys like Brett Yormark who are operators. It's one thing to be philosophically different, right? If San Diego State truly understood what a pro rata was and they were just pushing and maybe they were just a little philosophically different, you can kind of massage that through conversation. But if you're going to come out here and make an idiot of yourself saying things like we deserve a pro rata as a G5, you don't know what a pro rata is. And it really begs the question of, are you really worth the trouble? Because you're not a Power 5 school at this point. So, and we haven't even gotten to the $34 million exit fee. So if you're Brett Yormark, I just don't think San Diego State makes a lot of sense. I am a bit surprised if And again, I'm not questioning Brett McMurphy, very reliable, not typically wrong. But if that is indeed true that the Big 12 is not interested in Pac-12 schools, I'm a little surprised that they are passing on Oregon State. That is a bit surprising to me.
It's not surprising to me. I think I'll just go back to what I said 5 minutes ago. How does the Big 12 operate at 18 or 20 teams? I don't think it's possible. I think the scheduling in a conference, and I want to be gentle here, but you're not the Big 10. You don't have the infrastructure financially to go and add another 10 people just to handle scheduling, because that's what the Big 10 is having to do. The Big 10, because now they've added Oregon and Washington, they're going to schedule up. So they have to staff up to schedule up. They're talking about hiring 5 to 6 people. You're the Big 12. You're going from 10 to 16, making schedules. How are you going to do 18 or 20? Do you know? And you don't, but it is really difficult to schedule properly. Travel cost, logistics, exams. Hey, can we have Arizona out in Morgantown when Arizona has midterm exams? Well, we need to, hey, is that setting the student athlete up? Hey, can we have Arizona basketball on a Midwest 5-game trip when, hey, it's Christmas break and
no,
or hey,
No.
because you're going to have to pay for more mental health. They've already talked. This has been and I'm so thankful this is being talked about, but these conferences that are expanding, the Big 10 and the Big 12 mainly, they're going to have to add mental health advocates for their student athletes because they're concerned, and not football and basketball, whose travel is not going to change. These lower level sports, they're volleyball teams that aren't used to being on the other side of the country for a week and a half, 10 days at a time. They're worried about how that's going to impact their kids scholastically. They're worried about how that's going to impact their mental health.
Which they should be. That's part of this process. But I maintain, and this is what I feel like, excluding you, because I know we've talked about it, but I feel like most people in this conversation don't want to talk about and are unwilling to say is it doesn't matter if you don't want these kids to go through the mental health issues. They're going to go through mental health issues because conference realignment dictates that Stanford obviously they haven't joined the ACC, but if that does happen, you're literally dictating to that rower, that volleyball player, that you got to go across the country for 10 days because of the travel schedule and what all this looks like. So it's everything from being jet lagged to not being home and sleeping in your own bed to class online to everything. So,
and it's funny you bring up class online. What's one of the biggest concerns with all this? That these kids will become further attached to their electronics and less attached to human beings.
Yeah.
And I see everybody asking about, hey, what is the ACC going to do here? And you guys, I truly don't believe that Stanford and Cal are going to the ACC. It makes so little sense.
But okay, if not the ACC, where? Because I don't think the Mountain West is just a fallback option.
And it might have been John or several people were saying Stanford's going to go independent. Guys, do you understand how difficult it is for Notre Dame to be independent? And how much the window is shrinking. So you now have an 18-team Big 10.
Mm-hmm.
You now have a 16-team Big 12. Ask yourself, how many available games do any of those teams have? Because I think it's a foregone conclusion, as been talked about all weekend long. This is not me. I'm just saying, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Everybody's going to have to go to 10 games a year from now.
Absolutely.
Every conference is going to have 10 conference games. So let me ask you this. If you are Stanford or Notre Dame, and let's say you're independents, what about USC? USC is now expected to win the Big Ten or compete for it every single year. Do you still want to play Notre Dame? Notre Dame, I think 13th team in the country in the coaches poll today.
Yeah.
You have 10 Big Ten teams that you got to play every year in a much improved Big Ten. UCLA, Nebraska, like look at the way that Big Ten teams are trending up.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, if you're USC, do you still want to schedule Notre Dame? You want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marquee game, big TV. Okay, great. Can you afford to if you want to be a college football playoff team? I'm going to tell you can't.
Well, and I think the pressure on being a college football playoff team continues to go up. I mean, again, I don't know how many times we're going to say this, but I have to think it's a lot. Dude, you have to be in the college football playoff to have an insurance policy of survival. You have to. I mean, if you want to be prioritized in realignment, because again, I'm just going to keep saying this too. This is not the last wave of realignment. In fact, in my opinion, realignment's just getting going here. We may get, 3 to 5 year windows where realignment doesn't take place, but I'm telling you, this is not the last time we're going to be talking about stuff like this. So when we're in those windows where the dust is settled, we're just doing what we do in college athletics, like everything's worked out and we're not talking realignment, it's in those times where you define your value for the next conversation. So if you're SC, you need that game. You need a valuable schedule.
If you're Ohio State, who plays Notre Dame September 23rd, you want to keep playing Notre Dame in a 10 game schedule, Big Ten land, when you have 10 Big Ten teams on your schedule already. You want to keep playing them? Notre Dame also plays Pitt. Now, if I'm Pitt, I'm playing Notre Dame. What about Clemson? You think Clemson's going to keep it? What if Clemson does end up in the SEC? I don't think they will. If they end up in the SEC, you got to play 10 SEC conference games. You want to play Notre Dame? Nah, I don't think we do. Notre Dame is on the clock in independence. And I would remind you, why didn't the Big Ten add Cal and Stanford to go to 20? Because like my bro over here says, realignment's just getting started.
Yeah.
They know, the Big Ten knows that Duke and North Carolina may well be available. And look at all the money the Big 12's making in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We want some of that. We want a piece of chicken. We want some breast meat instead of thighs.
Yeah, can I get a 50 piece?
Yeah, let's go. Give me 20 pieces, and 2 of them had damn well better be Duke and North Carolina. That's why they didn't go to 20. Because they, much to your point, and this is where I credit you on your stupid Stanford and Cal takes. Stanford and Cal cannot be counted on to be championship caliber teams in either basketball or football.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at Duke and Carolina's actually got a pretty competitive. Drake May's a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, Carolina's got to find enough football team.
And they compete and they win. What they win 2 years ago, they won the national championship. Duke is Duke.
Yeah, Duke is Duke.
Now, they haven't done much since Fat Ass blew out his shoe in the tournament.
Yeah, nice Kyrie.
Right? Coach K retired. Okay, they're going through a transition. Anybody not want Duke in their... Raise your hand. Who doesn't want Duke?
Hey, raise your hand. Who doesn't want the ESPN Duke UNC 50 times a season contract?
But that's what I'm saying.
Come on, bro.
I think that's why you got the Big Ten not going to 20 teams, because I think they know it's coming.
This is my point about Stanford, though. The only roadblock to Stanford in the ACC is geography and travel. We have to find a solution. For what?
I'll say it.
What? We have to find a solution for travel.
No, we don't. Stanford and Cal need to go into the Mountain West.
No.
There is no way.
The Mountain West. Okay, here's the problem. The Mountain West, we can sit here and dream about, the Mountain West is going to expand and they're going to have a $12 million TV contract and everything's going to be great. The reality is they're not going to be a Power 5 conference. They're not. And the Power 4 conferences are going to continue to widen that gap.
Are you just trying to piss me off today? Is that what this is?
You can disagree, but
is
it's
this
the reality
literally
of the situation, dude.
Is this piss off Fat Ass Day?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you.
With all due respect.
I am telling you, Stanford and Cal cannot go to the ACC. It makes no sense from a whole lot. Dude, if you're a fucking engineering student at Stanford, how are you going to take your final when you got Wake Forest tomorrow afternoon? So do you know how hard it is to be a student at Stanford? I don't know why this fires me up. You know what? I just need a Papa Murphy's calzone.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do calzones.
Papa Murphy's does calzones?
Oh, I think you mean I do the calzones.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Oh, well, we do it with fresh ingredients and hand-shredded cheese tucked in a scratch-made dough.
That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
Hey, don't forget the calzones.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza, the official pizza of the Monty Show. Download the Papa Murphy's app. Make sure that you use the promo code Monty25. And you guys, here's how we do it. You get the calzone and make a custom calzone. Get whichever one you want. Then you order the marinara meatball. Put the meatball and the marinara sauce on top of the calzone. Now you're cooking with gas. Or, I mean, electric works too. But the point is, it's really good. It is really, really good. That's what I would say. Hey, a little breaking news out of television. And this is something we've had epic debates on this show about. They have hired Richard Sherman, as I try to type his name, to replace Shannon Sharp on Undisputed on Fox Sports 1, FS1. Now, for us, we've talked about this at length. That does not even move the needle for us.
Because it's garbage.
I still have never watched Undisputed.
Yeah.
Not one time.
Yeah.
I am not a Skip Bayless guy in any way, shape, or form. You guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
Does this excite you at all? Will it make you watch?
No, because this has nothing to do with Richard Sherman, right? This has everything to do with Skip Bayless and the way he goes about doing his show. And my biggest problem with Undisputed is it feels fabricated. You're not really having a conversation. What you're doing and what they do, in my opinion, on that show and in that department is they will say, okay, we're talking about Stanford going to the ACC. What's the most outlandish thing we can find to say about Stanford to the ACC? And then Skip's going to try and die on this hill, and it'll be Richard's job to play the other way, to be the devil's advocate, if you will. That's what they do.
Do you think he keeps going at him? I don't know. Too much gravy for the biscuits says it's a fail. LV Seminole says, yo, Sherman. Haha. He will have no chill with Schlip Bayless.
I think Richard Sherman will be harder on Drip Bayless than Buddy was. I think that Richard Sherman does not care. I think Richard Sherman will go after him. What I don't
and they have already. I've seen the clips on X.
Yeah, on X. See what he did there? It's X.
Saying that.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey, let's jump on X to have a conversation.
Sid Irish says Richard Sherman is funny AF. AAR says Scuttlebutt said it was going to be Richard Sherman 100. Too Much Gravy says it's a fail.
But does Richard Sherman make you more tolerable to Skip Bayless's dumbass Dallas Cowboys takes?
No, it doesn't.
Right? It doesn't make it better.
I don't need to hear Skip. And I say I've never watched a show, but this is how many dumb things he said that are all over the place. I don't need to hear Skip worrying about the playoff picture when you have a player on the field dying.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that.
Yeah, and I think that what I will say here though is that I'm glad that Skip Bayless is not going to ESPN. There were a lot of smoke around, hey, would they try to bring him back and have a little reunion? Can't do it, bro. It just I just genuinely, and we'll get back to football here, but I just genuinely feel like the shows we went through a stretch in Sports Talk TV where Hot Take Show was really hot.
Really hot.
Everyone wanted it, and it was the thing, and it was like, hey, we're doing Cup of Joe and making a jackass of ourselves on TV. And we've moved along now.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Where is that comment? Let's see. Where's OG Gary? Right here. OG Gary, but is Sherman still better at life than Skip? Do you guys remember when Sherman told Skip Bayless he was better at life? So good. So, yes, main event. So good. I just, Northeast Ohio, Wassa State fan. Finally, someone in the mainstream sports media defending defensive players.
Look, I think they did the best they could. Honestly,
I would
Fox,
agree.
I think they've done well with this hire. Now, unequivocally, I'm not going to watch that show. Sorry, Richard, that you're not making me watch that show.
All right, let's get back to football because there's a lot of big football news today on the show. Please There's 1,800 people watching the show. Hit the like button.
Do it.
We're trying to get to 1,000 likes every single day on the show, and generally we do, and we appreciate that. But we're trying to get to 23,000 subscribers by the time the show ends today. We've got 2 hours to go. We need 468 subscribers. There's 1,824 of you. You're not all subscribed to the show. It cannot be possible. Please hit the like button. Please give us a subscribe. Breaking news in football realignment. The ACC is working on adding Stanford and Cal. I'm going to tell you, while we've been sitting here, I've been texting with people, and I don't believe there's any way this happens. The ACC has been talking about expanding and breaking this grant of rights. I mean, the grant of rights conversation is 2 years old at a minimum?
Yeah.
The expanding thing is a year old at a minimum. I don't believe there's any validity in this. I would more see Stanford in their massive endowment become independent than I would see them join the ACC. I think that Stanford academics is too difficult already. Just showing up every day on campus for the garden variety student is hard to pass.
Mm-hmm.
When you're an athlete, you're traveling and you're training and you're playing, and then you go to school, asking your kids to take exams and Spanish classes and nitro math, engineering, quadratic equation formulas and shit, like from the East Coast, from Miami. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's what Stanford's about. I don't see a lot of validity in this. Sources told us yesterday and today that over the last 48 hours, the Pac-12 and the Mountain West have had significant conversations about a merger. I far more see that happening. I think that is absolutely big to do. The only ACC story to me today that has legs is Florida State to the SEC. And I say that because when I look at Florida State's situation, they're so out there. And the thing that they do that I really am still surprised about is on a daily basis, when you talk to somebody at Florida State, they're ripping the rest of their ACC members, which still is shocking to me that Florida State thinks that's their best path to breaking the grant of rights. Because depending on who you believe, and I believe that the sources and TV I speak to, they need 8 other ACC members to break their grant of rights, and then they have to get them to pay $120 million.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you pay the $120 million, that does not mean that you can go put your games on somebody else's network. No, friends. You still have to get a release from that grant of rights. And I just do not believe that Florida State's in a position to do that. But I do think Florida State's a better fit in the SEC than the ACC. The problem for Florida State is I also don't believe that they're a quality athletic program. I also don't believe that they're a college football powerhouse any longer until they show us that they are. So I understand that Dabo built that Clemson program on name, image, and likeness.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it.
We built this program on NIL.
But ACC stands for already crowned Clemson. And until Florida State stops trouncing people like Clemson, Jake, I just don't see the rest of this conference wanting to help them.
Yeah, I just don't know why you wouldn't. I think, the main point's always been, if you're a low-end ACC team, why would you want to help Florida State get out? Because ultimately, once Florida State is out, the grant of rights is going to get renegotiated. Your TV partners are going to want to change the number and the commitment. And that's going to hurt the low-end brand in the ACC, just like it has in the Pac-12, just like it will continue in the bigger conferences. So, again, I still maintain, everyone freaks out. Oh, my God, Florida State is making a fuss in the ACC. Who cares? Why does it matter? Because ultimately, they can yell as loud as they want to, and they can talk as much junk as they want to. You're not changing the contract you signed.
Yeah, I
is
agree.
Ironclad, 2036, you're effed. That's what it is. That's the agreement you signed.
Willingly.
Yeah. And by the way, I think everyone doesn't realize this. They've spent a year with their legal team trying to find a loophole and haven't found one. Do you really think that paid professionals in the legal field can't find loopholes if they're there?
Just all of a sudden, there's going to be a
bridge to get out.
I love this argument last week that somebody was making, that a friend's cousin's brother worked at a law firm whose partner had a distant relationship at another law firm that reviewed the grant of rights for Florida State. I'm pretty sure it was close to that, but it's like, really? We're hopscotching through the family tree trying to find a conflict of interest to get out of the ACC
Anything
grant of
that
rights.
they can do, bro.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Forget about it. C. Will gives us $2 to say, not a fan, but Florida State matters in the South. They do.
I'm not saying they don't matter. What I'm just simply saying is you can complain all you want. You can hate on the other member institutions in your conference, which I would never recommend, but they did that. That doesn't mean you're getting out. And by the way, if you continue to behave this way when the grant of rights is up, nobody's going to help you. And I, in my opinion, if I'm Greg Sankey, I'm sitting here looking at this program like, yeah, they are fit in our conference, but I'm not a big fan of the way they went about this. It's a bad look.
Wyatt Earp gives us $20.
Wyatt
Earp. Good to see you, Earp. You guys were spot on through the entire Big 12 Pac saga. Love your show. Great reporting, insightful commentary. Thank you for hosting group therapy the last 13 months. Wyatt Earp, first of all, give Doc Holliday our best. I hope that cough has gotten better. I've been going through it, so I totally understand it. Do you have any reference to what that means? It's tuberculosis. It's not a cough. Anyway, the point is, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for the tip. Kenneth Maynor for $5. Maybe Stanford and Cal are football-only members to the ACC, other sports to the WCC. There's a lot of credence in that.
And that's what I mean. We have to be able to do that. You have to be able to do that.
Well, because they're free agents now. Stanford and Cal, 11 months from now, are free agents.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can be creative when you're not under contract. That's a really good point, Kenneth. I never thought about that. Let's see. Horned frog spelled backwards to Gorf Denro.
Nice name, dog.
My guy for $10. Imagine the Pac if it had lost USC and UCLA, but added TCU, Texas Tech, Okie State, Kansas, and Iowa State. It's a different conversation.
What could have been, bro?
The Big 12 would be dead. The Pac-12 would be thriving. And it's amazing. It didn't happen because Carol Folt at USC was like, nah, bro, we're going to the Big 10. Can you man? And real quick, I'll run through that. You guys know this story. I'm sure you do. Carol Folt, the president at USC, was on a call with what's believed to be 4 other members of the Pac-12. And George Kliavkoff had this call to specifically talk about expanding with Big 12 members. People are like, yeah, I'm in. How about, yep, I'm in too. How about you? Yeah, we're in. Carol, your thoughts? No, we don't need to expand. I don't want to talk about it again. Okay, not expanding, guys. Thanks. She got off the phone and play along with me. Like 15 minutes later, sent the fax to the Big Ten saying that they were joining. Like, you let that happen not once, twice with Bobby Robbins now. And I warned you, and everybody told me, oh, you're just being stupid.
You're gaslighting.
You don't know what you're talking about. When they added Bobby Robbins to the board of directors at the Pac-12, the president in Arizona, 2 weeks ago, they put him on the board of directors. And what did I say? Huge mistake. You're going to let history repeat itself.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, Bobby Robbins is out the door. He's in the Big 12, and your conference is dead.
Yep.
It's amazing how many times the Pac-12 has let it happen.
Facts.
Marlon Shaw, you stud, for $10. What's the over-under until Anderson gets fired at ASU? Right again, Monty. The guy is beyond the worst. He's an embarrassment, disaster, and all-around a-hole.
Another 10 years, easy. I'm not even exaggerating. I think you just joined a new conference. Nothing's going to change.
So let me get this right. Ray Anderson has overseen incredible disappointment athletically, a massive scandal with Herm Edwards, who, by all accounts, had zero oversight at ASU football from, I don't know, Ray Anderson, his friend and athletic director. And now we know, according to the NCAA, his staff allegedly committed raunchy, terrible, the worst of the worst recruiting violations.
That's right, T.
And Herm Edwards didn't get fired for that. He gutted his entire staff, didn't get fired for that. Finally, when the NCAA said, yeah, we're going to drop the hammer. Hey, we fired Herm Edwards. Hey, real quick, somebody get that. Call Herm. He's fired. Get him the fuck out of here. Yeah, we fired Herm. Like, I mean, that was a plan all along. You know, it's called. Yeah, he's gone. He's officially out of here, man. Like, that's what it feels like Ray Anderson did. On the phone with the NCAA, yeah, you guys didn't fire Herm. What do you mean we didn't fire Herm? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Call legal. Get that letter for Herm. We fired him. What do you mean? Out of here. Yeah, we fired him. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's gone.
That's the only reason I truly believe in my heart of hearts. My opinion is the only reason Ray Anderson fired Herm Edwards is because the NCAA was going to drop the hammer on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you still didn't fire Ray Anderson for being incompetent. He's going to be there forever, Marlon. Forever. HAM, finally, transparency at the U. It's all we want. And we can contrast these two as I have.
Yeah.
And I've told you, Mark Harlan, best athletic director, top 10 athletic director in the country.
Yep.
Best athletic director by far in the old Pac-12. We'll see how he maneuvers into the Big 12. And you have a guy in Taylor Randall who I think has been nothing but class and an example for how to navigate a really difficult situation. And again, you listen to what they talked about in their press conference today. Listen to what Mark Harlan said about Brett Yormark.
I had a chance to finally communicate with Commissioner Yormark. He's got a vision, as the president alluded to. He's got a lot of things he's thinking about. Sometimes I'm like, wow, can we do that? But he seems to have figured out different ways to do that. So excited about that collaboration moving forward.
I mean, it's the exact right answer.
Dude, it's on point.
And so as you guys hit the like button on the show and you subscribe, the thing that I would tell you is we need to stop slandering these Pac-12 schools that stayed until it was clear they couldn't stay. And Utah's the best example of this. Everybody said, we don't want them in the conference. No. You want them in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You not want, you need them in the Big 12. And I know this frustrates people, and I'd love to have the conversation today. Utah's going to come in, and I think within 3 seasons, they're going to win the Big 12 championship in football. I think they're going to win the Big 12 championship in football.
I agree.
And I think they are going to be a very, very steady, if not rock solid, part of the football plan that keeps the Big 12 in the national championship picture year in and year out.
Well, and I wonder how long Kyle Whittingham has left, because a lot of people around Salt Lake will tell you that hey, like, you know, if it had worked out that the Utes were going to the Mountain West, let's say, that Whit would have retired. And I agree with that 100%. And that, for, you know, in my opinion, would have been the right move for Whit. But I think my opinion is also that, hey, now that you got to a legitimate Power 5, now that you're in a place where you've got reliability, you're moving forward, you've got momentum, you have a true path to, you know, the college football playoff on a regular basis, I would guess that would re-energize Witten, and I haven't even gotten to the Holy War yet. So to me, I just think I hope that Witt's got another 5 years in him. I really do, because I think if he does, they're going to win the Big 12, like he just said, inside of 3 years. But I think if you go through a coaching change and, you know, you have all this turnover, that's obviously gonna change things. And I think, unfortunately for Utah, because their basketball program is just not good. Men's basketball program is not good.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be good in football.
Because I think they have an elite women's program in basketball, and really the entire women's sports program at Utah is elite. I mean, their softball, their gymnastics, like their basketball had a historic year this year. They've clearly taken a step forward. And I have to believe at some point, knowing the quality of athletic director that Mark Harlan is, that men's basketball program is going to get figured out. And that's the only missing link in their athletic program.
Yeah.
They've got an endowment. They've got donors, alumni, you name it. Utah's got everything you want. What don't they have? Reach.
Yeah.
They didn't have reach. They don't have notoriety. So that all changes a year from now. Because I'd remind you, in a pretty damn good football conference, they're back-to-back conference champions in the Pac-12.
Well, and I think we can't skip over the fact that they just weren't on national TV much. Like,
at all.
Just really weren't. I mean, the Florida game was on ESPN, but a lot of their season just isn't on regularly found TV. And so now that changes. I would make the same case about any of the other teams that are in the Big 10 or the Big 12 from the Pac. Like, again, we can't discount just how short the Pac-12 TV deal came with these teams. Like, I look at Utah and I often wonder, bro, like, if Utah had the Fox deal these last 2 years, how much, like, would they be a top 10 team every single week if they were able just to play on national TV?
Yeah.
Just if you, like, hear me out. I'm not saying that they're top 10 good regularly, but what I am saying is that if you were on national TV, Fox or whatever have you, CBS, ESPN, whatever it is, if they were on national TV every week and were found, how much does that help Kyle Whittingham's case? How much does that help them recruit? I even wonder if you had the TV deal that the Big 12 has right now, if you had that the last 5 years, how much better is the talent there? Because Kyle Whittingham can turn 3-star guys into 5-star guys and put them in the league on a regular basis. So it just makes you wonder. And that's why I say if they get into the Big 12, or now that they're in the Big 12, that first year is going to be huge because Cam Rising's not going to be there. Brant Keithy's not going to be there, right? Like, you're going to have turnover. So if I'm Kyle Whittingham, yeah, sure, we got to honor the Pac-12, as Taylor Randall said today, I believe. But I'm focused. I'm focused on winning the Pac-12 this year. But damn, you better be ready for next year.
Yeah, and damn, you better be ready for September 23rd in Waco, Texas, when Texas and Baylor do battle. You can be there. We're giving away a pair of tickets thanks to our friends at TryDayTrading.com. TryDayTrading.com. All you have to do is go sign up for the 30-day trial membership. All it costs you is a $10 charitable donation. Here's how it works. You give $10 to charity at TryDayTrading.com. It's a tax write-off for you. You get their entire program unfettered, unscoped for 30 straight days. At the end of that 30 days, you're not in. Now, I'll tell you this right now. All of our viewers who have gone and worked with Tri-Day Trading, none of them have stopped at 30 days because you just make too much money. It gives you too much independence, too much freedom. It's everything that you've been looking for in starting your own business. And for everybody who hates their boss, hates their job, is tired of going back to the office, TryDayTrading.com. That's for you. Everybody who goes there in the next 4 days, because we're going to announce the winner at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on Friday. Everybody who goes there in the next 4 days, all you have to do is take a screenshot that you signed up, tag us on Twitter or Instagram, The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show. Jake is SLC Jake on Twitter and Instagram. Just tag us in that picture. You're entered to win Baylor hosting Texas September 23rd. This is the game you guys asked us for. This is the one you said, hey, if you're going to keep giving away tickets, can we get some Baylor, Texas? Well, you got some Baylor, Texas. And if I said to you, hey, you want a pair of tickets to the Baylor, Texas game for $10, you would say, yeah, absolutely. So go hook it up. TryDayTrading.com. Sign up for the 30-day trial membership, $10 charitable donation. Take a screenshot, tag us on social.
Do it.
You're in.
Do it.
That's how you win the tickets. We'll announce the winner on Friday. Hook it up. TryDayTrading.com. Let's keep reading your comments as you hit the like button. A lot going on in sports today. This ACC thing with Stanford and Cal is pretty interesting. I don't believe it, not for a second. I don't believe Stanford and Cal are a fit in the Big 12. That's just my opinion. I think Cal winds up in the Mountain West, and I don't know where Stanford goes. I really don't. I don't have a good feel as to what Stanford does. My guess is they would go back to independence. If I had to guess today. Zach Sloter, what's up, Zach? He gives us $5. Can we talk about how much of a douchebag Ray Anderson was at West Virginia? To West Virginia.
You're a douche.
Michael Crow's an Iowa State alum. Go Cyclones. He's a hell of an administrator. Just keep him away from sports. Marlon gives us $20. I keep saying the way to deal with UConn, don't bring football. Do everything else. Give them a scheduling agreement for football with criteria to grow football to the Big 12. Worthy and admit future if they complete the agenda. The problem is, and maybe this is stupid on UConn's part, they will not join as a basketball only. They will not join unless you take all of their sports, which is smart. That's the leverage play for UConn.
Yeah.
It's going to keep them out of the Big 12 because I've said this, and I know that you guys disagree with me. UConn football is a lost ad. You're losing money. You are subsidizing as a conference.
Yes.
UConn football, because their stadium is 30 miles away from campus. It's in East Hartford.
Yep.
They don't own it. They don't fill it, and they don't win games.
Yeah.
And Jim Mora Jr., the football coach at UConn, is a hell of a program builder. I think we know that. But how long does he stay at UConn? And UConn has zero track record of being a university that cares to invest in football to the point where, A, they would build an on-campus football stadium, and B, more importantly, that they can contend at the top of the conference.
Yeah.
And if you're going to add UConn, can I just ask you why you wouldn't go look at South Florida? Why? They have an on-campus stadium. They win games. Like, they're everything you're looking for. Now, they don't have UConn's basketball lineage, clearly, women's and men's. They don't. And I'm down with that.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely losing money.
I think the issue with USF is that, you added UCF. You've already added a Florida contingent. And look, I think after this wave of realignments kind of gone down, it forces Brett Yormark to be incredibly selective. I mean, again, the conversation isn't really, hey, what are the best things you do? Are you a great football program or a great basketball program, or what do you do well? That's not the conversation, in my opinion. The conversation is, what don't you do well? What are your issues? What do I have to go to my presidents with and sell them on? Because ultimately, nothing in that conference gets done without presidential approval. And Brett has said that 100 different times, 100 different ways. He said, hey, I run everything by them. They ultimately make the decisions, but I've been able to be on the same page with them, and I understand the type of opportunities they're looking for. I understand the direction they want to go, and I'm just the conduit to get things done, which is why Rucker Park or Mexico City or realignment has gotten done to this point. So if you're a president in the Big 12, why would you want to add UConn? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
But I'm telling you, if you add USF, University of South Florida, you dominate the Tampa market. It hands you Central Florida because USF is in Tampa, and what's in the middle of Florida? Orlando, and you have UCF. Now you are cutting the state in half, and I think you're going to see this is a conference that's going to compete for college football playoff spots.
Yeah.
You're already the best basketball conference in the country. You are going to start to impact Florida State, and Miami recruiting. You have a real chance. And you look at Utah, again, great example on why Utah is valuable. Utah has a pipeline to Florida.
Yeah.
So I would really, if you're going to add somebody, it would be USF. I would not add UConn for basketball only. I just don't feel. I totally agree. Totally agree. The MLMS gives us $2. We are now the MLMS out of respect and care for Monty.
I'm not sure I understand that.
No idea what that means. You'll have to let me know. Car Wash Channel for $2. Any update on Gonzaga and the other basketball to the Big 12? The update would be that there's not really an update.
Yeah.
I think Gonzaga, I don't buy into Brett McMurphy, Action Network, tweeted today that the Big 12 is done adding schools. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. You wouldn't be making the effort that they made all weekend long, because our sources have been pretty rock solid on this. They were talking to Oregon State, California, and Gonzaga. Why would you be putting all that effort in? Why would you have had an 18-month love affair with Gonzaga? And really, it turned up when Brett Yormark got there. Why would you have had a 12-month love affair with Gonzaga just to say, nah, we're done?
Yeah, it's weird.
Doesn't make any sense. And usually A plus B equals your mom in these situations.
Gonzaga.
So the MLMS says Crow is telling everything you need to know about the demise of the Pac-12. Betting ASU's future on technology he doesn't even understand. Truth be told.
Yeah.
Bulls says not defending Ray Anderson, but okay, here's $2. There is no defense.
And
there's not, right?
Pardon me.
Well, John F. Hopkins for $5. Thank you very much. Derek Roche upgraded to Let's go. Derek upgraded to members only.
Let's go, baby. You got to DM me.
Make sure you DM Jake, Derek. He'll add you to the group. Good to see you. Tom Dean, newest Monty Show sponsor, Girl Scout cookies.
Damn right.
Dog. No, man, I've lost 40 pounds. Not eating Girl Scout cookies. I will say, had the Traeger lit this weekend. I made the wings, so I got drums and flats.
Well, flats, as the comment section has repeatedly come through and said, are better.
Back to front guy over here.
No.
And you wonder why you're a virgin.
No.
But anyway, the point is, so I got the asado seasoning. Jake heated up the Traeger, put him on the Traeger. We played some golf in the backyard into the hitting net. Dude, the wings, had them for lunch today. Amazing.
Bomb.
Amazing. OG Gary, what's up? Have student athletes play on Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, dude.
It looks cool. It does look cool. I will say, okay. Brother Bigfoot. Never gonna happen. But I would love to see these bigger conferences hold a 14 conference playoff championship game. Pod champs get the playoff would be fun. But are we really in an era where we want to be exclusionary to G5s altogether?
Aren't we already doing that?
Well, I think we're building super conferences that way. The 3-team 20 conference thing absolutely excludes the G5.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. Maury Alvarez, our favorite Floridian.
Yeah, tell me what it is.
Florida. If the ACC adds Stanford and Cal, does that reopen the grant of rights? It does.
Yeah.
In that you would have to get more money. And you'd have to get more money.
But he's asking that because of Florida State.
It would not trigger exit ability for Florida State and Clemson.
Yeah.
It would not. Gop says Skip Bayless lives in Dallas Cowboy Fantasyland. He's lost in a world of make-believe. Hook him. I don't disagree. See Will for $2. What about Stanford and Cal to the Ivy League? But why would they do that? You're not on TV. You have zero reach. And oh, by the way, most of the Ivy League is on the East Coast. Join the ACC.
Yeah.
The Ivy League regionally doesn't work. Matt Ritson for $5. If Stanford became independent, who's the TV streaming and how much and how scheduled teams no longer in the conference? But that's the question that I have. How do you make, excuse my cough, how do you make a scheduling alliance with anybody of note? Because if you look at Stanford's schedule, their non-con schedule, dude, it's very difficult. If you're in the ACC, okay, I get it. You can play Miami and Florida State and Carolina, Duke and basketball, and you have options.
Yeah.
If you're independent, Notre Dame's going to eventually stop scheduling you because every conference is going to mandate 10 conference games.
Yeah.
And there's just not a lot of bandwidth there. And I know I've been saying that for probably far too long, but it's just it's difficult, man. It really is. The ML, oh, damn. Okay, I got this. This is one of the most difficult words.
Oh, man, dude.
That I've ever had to say on the show. I've gotten it right 4 straight times. Once in the car over the weekend when we were joking about this here account. It is MLMS, the Mike Leach Meteorological Society.
Boom.
Now, get me to say meteorologist. They're meteorologists.
Yeah.
Let's go. To say meteorologist is very difficult. To say meteorological, I have to have that meteorological little pause maybe.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to figure something out.
The MLMS. Thank you for that.
Nice.
Cal's Board of Regents will meet tomorrow to discuss Pac-4 membership. They are facing a $200 million debt from stadium upgrades. I can only say it so many times.
Good luck.
Their stadium, and I used to work at the great KMBR 680, the sports leader.
Right.
When I worked in San Francisco at KGO and KMBR, that was 2011 to 2013.
Yeah.
They were still trying to figure out how to pay for that stadium. And they still have not figured it out.
I mean, I just don't understand why you'd renovate your football stadium when nobody goes to your games.
No idea. No idea.
Why would you do that to yourself?
No idea. I just, no idea. Cowboy country. Monty, meaty or logical? This will help pronounce it. Meaty or logical? Hey, man. Anything helps.
Yeah, I guess
Conference
I'll have to
Commissioner
figure something
Gumby.
out.
Meaty or logical? I am meaty. I don't disagree with that.
You're meaty.
I'm meaty. Yeah.
Hiscock.
Robert Reed. California Board of Regents controls all UC schools. Yes, and this goes back to, as you guys hit the like button here on YouTube, on the Monty Show presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. If you remember the Cal subsidy from UCLA going to the Big Ten with USC, and this is not dissimilar to Arizona's Board of Regents, by the way, that controls education in the state of Arizona. The Cal system is UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC Riverside, UC Irvine, UC San Francisco, like all the University of California ats are in this system.
Right.
With Cal being in such a massive financial debt athletically, they need to figure out where they're going to get the most money from. And I think that the answer is not the ACC.
No.
This is just my opinion. Not the ACC. But again, is it the Mountain West who currently gets $4 million per school per year for their TV deal? Doesn't feel like it. Now, if you get Cal and Oregon State to join the Mountain West, are you telling me that ESPN does not have late night programming? They don't have Pac-12 After Dark, and they did not get anything in the Big Ten. Tell me again. Now, and the problem is that CBS Sports is the main rights holder for Mountain West programming. Is ESPN going to come in and give you $100 million a year? Probably not going to happen.
No.
$50 million a year. Probably not going to happen. I don't see a road for Cal Athletics to grow and expand financially here.
Yeah.
I don't see a road to make that happen. And it's really disappointing.
The Mountain West is available, but I don't necessarily think that's a great option, dude.
Yeah, there's just no reach there right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reach, there's no money. Like
here again, from Yahusha Reborn says, why not Stanford to the Mountain West? A pride issue, a reach issue.
Yeah, money issue, bro. Like, I don't think it's a pride issue with Stanford. That's what I'm saying. Like, again, I know we disagree in the ACC. The travel is a problem. There is no doubt about that is a problem of the highest order. Problem to the point where you might not do it. But that is by far the best option. If you're getting, let's say you get $23 million and as part of the deal, the ACC will subsidize 50% of your travel. Like, you have to do that.
You have to.
You have to.
But I don't know how, if you're the ACC, how do you pitch that to Florida State? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. You know, Jamie Thornton, Mountain West Conference only pays out $5 million per. No way they will go to the Mountain West. Got to add money. Money. And Gloria Navarez straight up told us on this show, hey, we have all kinds of relationships with our TV partners. We talk to them consistently.
Yeah, you have to remember, if they were to join the Mountain West, the TV deal will go up.
Because anytime, and I don't know how many people know this, anytime you add a team, your grant of rights changes.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Big Ten and the Big 12 sent out new grant of rights to all of their members to include the rights to these, 6 new teams.
Yeah.
And then these, essentially these 8 new teams.
Yeah.
I should have said. So you would have to do that. That college, comment dump. That college football guy, Mountain West Conference's primary TV partners are CBS and Fox, right? But those late night games, those Mountain Pacific games are on CBS Sports Network. So is CBS going to compete with the Big Ten at night? I don't think so. And I can't see Fox saying, hey, we'll take some of that. Can't see him doing that. Because Fox has the Big 10 and the Big 12.
Yeah.
How much bandwidth do they want with NFL? Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
So you look at CBS Sports Network, which is where the majority of your Mountain West football is. You're going to have to upgrade that. ESPN's the only way.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have the money and they have the bandwidth to do it. So I would think that would happen on some level.
Yeah.
So I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm open to the idea that I'm wrong, that I'm completely wrong. Let's see. Hans Stoley for $2. Live in Maryland. Wife is a U of U fan. Now we can watch games. Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly right, man. That's exactly right. Gorf says, I bet you'd like a meteorologist.
Yeah, see what he
Well,
did there.
I always want the weather.
Hiscock.
I mean, what?
That's meaty.
Yeah, a meteorologist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Can you explain it to me?
I need a dick.
Whoa. This is not a family show. Eric, for $2. Any update on JP Morgan and Florida State? I think that
I thought the question was any update on JP Morgan and Florida State. Florida State is so desperate to get out of their conference that they're willing to go into debt to do it. Incredible.
And essentially Florida State is out shopping for money. They are going to work. They're working with JP Morgan to raise money to pay the $120 million exit fee. And it just is, it's crazy to me that you're going to private money to try and get out of the conference.
Yeah.
And somebody else I saw asked about 6th Street. 6th Street is a massive private money firm, one of the biggest. And they're in advanced talks to lead that investment for Florida State to get out of their grant of rights. And I am stunned by it. And basically what they're doing is they're saying, hey, you can own part of Florida State athletics.
Yeah.
As long as we get $120 million. And it would be not unprecedented, but really at this level for this kind of scratch, it'd be unprecedented.
Yeah.
And it would be things like interactive stuff, clothing, merchandise, it would be significant parts of the revenue streams that are offshoots of your football and basketball.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's crazy.
It's a huge mistake in my opinion.
You come out looking very desperate if you give away a piece of your naming rights stadium to your stadium or your basketball arena. If you put somebody's patch on your practice jersey, that's not money you're getting, but you're not in the ACC anymore.
Yeah. And again, we still have this issue of, cool, you got out of the ACC. That doesn't mean you get your television rights back.
That's right. That's right. All right. Make sure you hit the like button. We've had over 10,000 views on the show today. We're only at 557 likes. Let's get that done. We want to get to 1,000. When we get to 1,000, the show usually catapults itself. By the way, we've now added 100 subscribers during the show. We just cracked 100 new subscribers. We're trying to get to 23,000 by the end of the show. If you are not subscribed, please consider giving us a subscribe. Dude, Lance Johnson, what are you doing for $200?
Damn, bro. What are you, JP Morgan?
Lance, appreciate you. Cal is not and truly has never been a Power 5 school in athletics. Go to the Mountain West Conference for Stanford, truly care, or go to the Ivy League. But how do you... I would agree that Jeff Tedford probably had the closest iteration of a Cal contending football program.
Mm-hmm.
But you just hired Mark Madsen, who's coming off of an unbelievable tournament run with Utah Valley, right? So I have to think on some level, you're going to be better athletically. Who knows what happens with the football team? And
yeah.
But if you go to the Mountain West, and let's get generous and say they get $10 million a year, how are you going to function athletically? I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah, you're going to need a couple less Gatorade bottles, dude. Like
you're only getting so much money from UCLA in the Big Ten. I just don't know how you survive that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tip. We really appreciate it. Hero 75 for $5. I wouldn't be surprised if these conferences turn to AI programs to help them make these travel schedules as balanced and as fair as possible. That could happen. Could absolutely happen. I don't know, though. This Florida State thing, and you guys, I don't, maybe I'm the idiot here. I'm open to the idea. Why, if you're an ACC member, would you help Florida State?
Jackass.
Why? If you're Boston College, if you're the Virginia schools, if you're Miami, and Florida State's running their mouth about what a crappy job everybody else in the ACC has done making money, and they deserve a lion's share of the revenue, and they should be this, and they should be that, and we want out of here.
Yeah.
And they're dealing with JP Morgan and all these other private money firms. Why would you help them?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
And when you want out of when they want out of the conference, that you think that other schools are going to roll up and be like, yeah, we really need to help you get to the SEC. No, they're not going to help you, dude. Burn that bridge.
Northeast Ohio Boise fan. It doesn't matter what Florida State thinks.
I still maintain that, dude.
The
it
Rocks
literally
boys.
doesn't matter.
RB says Texas Tech to the Big East.
Okay.
Amen. Two Masta says ACC can't wait and won't take Oregon State or Wazoo. I think you're better off in the Mountain West than the ACC. Because again, I said it in a short today on the channel. And if you don't watch our shorts, you really should.
Yeah.
You're in the frying pan in the Pac-12. You've got these 4 schools. Think about a gas stovetop. That gas is turned up. You've got some olive oil in there boiling because you're about to make some chitlins or pig's feet or bacon or like me.
I thought you said pig's feet.
You're just going to scramble 4 eggs. And you've got Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State in this frying pan. They're like, oh, the ACC, let's jump into the fire. And they jump out of the pan and into the fire. The ACC is not stable. The ACC is not making you more money. The ACC is probably giving you more reach. You're getting more reach.
Yeah.
But you don't know the money you're going to take home. You have tons of variables on travel, mental health. You're going to take a write down from Florida State because they're not going to let you come in as a full share member. Why would you do that when you can become the kings of the Mountain West?
Money.
Because did anybody notice that Utah State hired their athletic director from the Big Ten Network in the Big Ten?
Yeah.
The associate commissioner of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Who has significant infrastructure experience in TV networks, television industry, and worked at Ohio State and oversaw the exit of Pervin Meyer, is now the athletic director at Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, these folks aren't just sitting around hoping and praying, man.
Yeah, that's a good hire.
They're ready to move. They are ready to move. And for my money, I'm just telling you guys, I would gamble on more money in the Mountain West than I would in the ACC. Because I'm closer to home. I'm desired and valued. That's what I said about San Diego State, you dumbasses. Why would you leave the Mountain West for the Pac-12? Pac-12. San Diego State's the only one who was like, oh, the Pac-12 is going to be great.
Oh, my God.
They're going to make it. They're going to make it. But wait, they're expanding after the TV contract they're never getting. I know, but they're going to make it because
Who the fuck is that guy?
It's the pro rata we deserve.
Come on, dude.
But if we don't make it in the Pac-12, the Big 12 is going to add us.
And then everyone wants to call us an asshole for saying, hey, dude, it's not the pro rata you deserve. That's not how it works.
This fight on Twitter today, these two guys were having a fight on Twitter on my timeline today saying, oh, well, hey, bro, Fox has agreed to, they have the pro rata in place. Fox doesn't have it. Do you guys understand that a pro rata is an addendum to a contract and can be a line item in a contract, but is usually an addendum to a contract. It's not just a term you throw out there. It's a
not
thing.
how it works.
It's a contracted item.
Yeah.
Where you say, hey, and in the ESPN Big 12 contract, the pro rata says if you add a Power 5 school, we'll pay you our full share, which is $20 million.
Yeah.
Now, what the Big 12 did, which is what all good conferences do, and as we exclusively reported and broke the news, the Big 10 did. They went to their TV partners because they don't have a pro rata in the Big 10.
Hey, guys.
They said, hey, we'd really like to add Oregon and Washington. Are you guys willing to pay more?
Yes,
Why?
yes.
Yes, we are.
In fact, we are.
And the Big 12, who is, by the way, as we broke on this show first, paying their 4 new members, right? All the 4 corners, are all getting full shares.
Yep.
And how are they able to do that? Because ESPN and Fox agreed to pay those full shares. You know what the problem is now? Fox is not willing to pay for San Diego State.
Yeah. And why would you be?
They're not. Fox is willing to pay for Gonzaga because ESPN is going to get like a game a year out of Gonzaga basketball. Fox will have 3-4 games a year.
Yes.
Because Fox has 65% of the basketball inventory in the Big 12 and only 35% of the football, and vice versa with ESPN. It's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
Stop saying, well, Fox is going to pay the pro rata. That does not exist. It is exceptionally rare in TV deals to have pro ratas.
Yeah.
Exceptionally rare, which again, not to tell you I told you so, but pimp's going to pimp. This is how you know that ESPN was invested in the Big 12 and not in the Pac-12. This is how it could not have been any more clear that ESPN was invested in the Big 12 as soon as that pro rata agreement came out. We said it on the show.
Yep.
Plain as day, because you can tell.
Yes.
The Raging Bolts. How true are the San Diego State and Oregon State news? I don't think true at all.
No.
I could see Oregon State. I have been told repeatedly the Big 12's not interested in San Diego State. They're simply not going to do that.
Which is not surprising on a number of levels. Business ops, like what you said, what you did, what you haven't done, like it's just not that surprising.
I think the Big 12 is interested on some level, more interested specifically in Cal than they are in San Diego State. Because they get the exact same thing, but a larger bump from Cal than they do from San Diego State.
Yeah.
Because what happens if they add Cal? Yeah, ESPN's in. So it makes more sense. You're worth more. And they get the Bay Area and they get their 4th time zone.
Yeah.
You'll get less of a bang from Oregon State than you will Cal. That's why I said we're far from done here, man.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what these other schools are going to do. How much money the Todd father for $10? Hi, Todd. How much money it take to knock off one of 3 Iowa City on your background and switch to Ames? I'll take the one over your right shoulder, Monty. Right there. Duct tape over it is fine. I mean, $50,000.
I mean, we haven't been. So listen. So the rap company is only going to pay the pro rata for certain cities. So Iowa City doesn't quite get the job done.
Yeah, sorry. Neither does Ames, by the way. Now,
Or
Norman
Ames doesn't get the job done.
Our rap company agreed to pay the pro rata double every time we put the word Norman on the wall. Okay, let's move on. Cowboy Country. Here's what should happen. Okay, for $5.
Please tell me.
FSU and Clemson to the SEC. West Virginia and UCF to the ACC. Then Oregon State, Washington State to the Big 12. Everybody's happy. Why would you want to?
Because it's all part of the plan.
If you're the Big 12, why would you want to exit Florida? Why would you do? It is the caliber of athlete in Florida has always been faster and talented, and why would you do that? And again, I make the case for South Florida. Give me Tampa and Orlando, and I can compete with any conference. Right? Because Miami owns Miami, but that doesn't mean that they aren't going to lose recruits. Because the University of Miami is a mess, frankly. The city of Miami is a mess. So if I can go to pick your poison, if I'm a basketball player and I go to Kansas Oh, but I can be in the conference with Kansas and play Kansas twice a year on national TV, and I only have to go from Miami up to Tampa? Yes.
Facts.
Do it.
I only have to go from Miami up to Orlando? Yes. Wait a minute. I'm in Jacksonville. I don't have to go to shitty Florida State. I can go down to Orlando? Yes. And by the way, I'm going to be in the best basketball conference in the country, which is going to help my NBA draft stock as a one and done. Yes. Why, if you're the Big 12, would you exit Florida? I think I would not do that.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree.
I would not do that. Eagle Eye Mojo Sullivan. He's a helicopter pilot. Anyway, the ACC plus Pac-4 equals AP conference, like the defunct grocer. A&P. Okay. Why would you want to join the? Am I wrong for thinking the ACC is not stable? That's the ACC.
Well, no, it's very stable until there's any kind of proof that they have membership enough to break the grant of rights. It's stable enough. It's stable as it needs to be. I mean, it's 2036.
But
dude.
you guys, isn't this like getting a divorce? And then you, after fresh off of your divorce, you're like, yeah, dude, I think, you know what? I'm going to go with that crazy girl. Now listen, she lives on the other side of town. You know, I grew up in Chicago. She lives in Calumet City, but she's crazy and she's great in bed.
Hiscock.
But she wants to get married and she wants like 4 kids. And by the way, she's got a crazy ex.
You just have to like snap out of it a little bit.
And he's always on the phone like, hey, give me more. Give me more. Because isn't like Florida State your crazy girlfriend's crazy ex? Like, why would you go from a terrible divorce to a crazy girlfriend with a crazy ex? Oh, that's right. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You never would. You're not doing that. That's why I say, like, it makes no sense to leave the Pac-12 to go in and be like, yeah, man, dude, I have absolutely... She's crazy, but look at that rack.
But I think the difference is
wouldn't
that
do
we're
that.
way overvaluing Florida State's influence.
I think Florida State, influence where?
It doesn't, they can bitch as much as they want. It doesn't matter right now. It matters when the grant of rights is going to expire. Like again, this conversation changes when you have, you know, I think the number's 80%, might be 90% of the conference has to agree. So if Florida State were to rally the troops and had that kind of support,
rally the troops.
Now we're having a different conversation. But that's not who they are.
Let's hire Prime to rally the troops.
Yeah, dude. Yes. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I guess I just misread the situation.
I
never said that I was smart. I'm not intelligent as a man. You guys
don't have
know
another
that.
choice.
I'm a Cubs fan and a Notre Dame fan. How smart can I be, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they have another choice. But frankly, does Stanford and Cal have another choice?
No, that's what I mean. I don't think Stanford and Cal have another choice. They have to put up with the BS of the ACC.
Does Florida State have a choice?
No, not right now.
Not right now.
No.
Not right now. I think it's one of the...
Remember where all this started? This all started because UCF realigned to the Big 12. That's where Florida State got pissed.
Shane Meyer for $5. Oh, God. Are we back to Iowa wars on the show? You remember when we first put this new wrap up and people were like,
guys,
why is Ames on that wall? Why?
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
Nobody goes to Ames. And all the people in Ames were like, you know, Iowa City's irrelevant. Kirk Ferentz is such a cock face anyway. What do they win? Hawkeye my ass. That's from MASH.
Y'all feel me?
It was like, dude, Iowa.
We get it. The issues in Iowa are bigger than the state itself.
Just settle down. Husk the corn and we'll handle it. What if we showed up one day with a new rap and there was nothing but Dubuque all over the rap?
Damn.
Well, Dubuque does make nice ham. All right, Shane Meyer for $5. Iowa has a bigger casual fan base, but they won't watch this show. Hashtag we will. There's no casual T-shirt fans in the Big 12 except Kansas.
Jesus.
You're casual.
I'm tired of you T-shirt fans. By the way, what's a T-shirt fan? No, those are those assholes who always You know, they never watch TV. All they do is cut their grass in their stupid Hawkeye shirt.
Well, that's the issue, isn't
And they've
it?
got those armpit stains. They smell funny in Iowa City, too. Is that what a T-shirt fan is? They don't go to games. They don't watch games. But, man, he's got the most beautiful black and yellow T-shirt collection you've ever seen. Is that what that is?
I guess.
Is that what that is? Oh, my God. Let's see. Charlie Kidd says, that's stupid. The ACC will announce by the 15th. What's stupid?
Yeah, what's stupid? And what
It
are they
says,
announcing?
ask your lawyer. Ask my lawyer what?
Yeah, like be more specific, guy.
FSU could play all road games if it came to it.
Please.
But why would you do that? I'm asking genuinely. Let me get this right. So you're going to raise $120 million of private money that's not going to release your grant of rights. That just gets you out of the conference. Your rights to broadcast your home games stay in the ACC. What's that $120 million? You're spending that $120 million on jet fuel for your private jet?
And, pardon me,
and let me get this right. You're spending $120 million. Your stadium name or field patch is probably going to be sold in a building you're never going to play in. What sense does that make?
Doesn't make any sense, dude.
So, with all due respect, Charlie,
With all due respect.
Right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Michael says, Cubs fan here.
Michael.
I don't want to talk about the Cubs because if we start talking about the Cubs, I'm going to get into this emotional thing where I'm going to be like, hey, bro, we're going to win the wild card. When you and I fucking know it's not going to happen.
Hey, you start talking shit.
We're not going to hit. We're not going to pitch. And Dansby's going to pull like a groin muscle and be out for the rest of the season. That's coming.
Think that's HIPAA?
And Ivan DeJesus and Sean Dunston aren't walking through that door anytime soon. So when Dansby gets hurt, shaving that beautiful beard of his, you and I both know this season's over because the Dansby injury's coming. By the way, Anthony Rizzo on the injured list. Thankfully, it's for the Yankees, not the Cubs, but he should still be the Cubs' first baseman. He's not, and I get it. Cody Bellinger is hitting that like he can't quit that. Yeah, man. Like, I get it. He's hitting that like he can't quit. I'll stop making sexual innuendo jokes and just tell you to get the Papa Murphy's calzone.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do calzones.
Papa Murphy's does calzones?
Oh, I think you mean I do the calzones.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Well, we do it with fresh ingredients and hand-shredded cheese tucked in a scratch-made dough.
That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
You don't forget the calzones.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Now to get a $120 million loan. If you could have broke the grant of rights, you would have done that already. Whether you got Papa Murphy's pizza or not doesn't matter. You've got $120 million.
Well, getting private money, to get out of your conference is like, getting meatballs without the calzone.
Why would you do that? And certainly you would never get private money without using the promo code Monty25 to save 25% off your interest rate. Well, no, it's actually 25% off.
Don't lie to me.
Of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza, which, by the way, again, I had pizza with barbecue sauce from Papa Murphy's over the weekend. Why you people still use red sauce? I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a red sauce guy, just put your Florida State helmet on. It's fine.
Yeah,
Dude,
we get it. You're doing if you eat red sauce on pizza, my guess is you're doing the dishes tonight and tomorrow morning before work. You're vacuuming.
Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain.
It's a guess. It's a guess. Mark Stone says, "Oh, boo hoo, the Cubs, go Braves!" Who we took 3 or 4 over the weekend from. Congratulations. By the way, Dansby looks really good in our uniform. I don't know. They raised the $120 milli by last year. Then why are they still in the ACC?
By the way, dude, even if you got out of the conference, you're not getting your television rights back. Who cares?
And I'm asking genuinely because, again, I get, you know what, Charlie Kidd, I get it. I'm not as smart as you are. You're smarter. I'm better looking, right? But you're smarter than me. So explain me, help me.
Can you do something for me?
Help me understand your greatness. If they have $120 million, why all the shit talking? And why are they still in the ACC? With their, I mean, what are they, is this Batman who's just lighting the pile of money on fire?
Yeah.
Are we going to see how loyal a hungry dog really is? Okay, your dog's got $120 million. How loyal is he? Apparently pretty loyal to the ACC, because all they've been talking about the last 3 weeks is we're going to raise private money, $120 million, and we're out of here. But
You see, I like I have simple taste.
wait, I thought Charlie Kidd told me on the Monty program that they had already raised the money last year.
Program.
I'm not, and I'm really not trying to be a jerk about it, but this is what makes me crazy. If they had the money already, then if you had the money, then you'll leave the conference. But you don't have the money, so then you can't leave the conference.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to follow along. And listen, I was never good at Latin in school, so I struggle with different languages.
Here I am.
Help me understand it. Greg Hawkins, my dude.
Gregory.
What's up, casuals? Go Utes, Big 12 bound, baby.
Hey, welcome to the truck stop conference.
I love all the Ute fans. And I'm not even going to call dudes out by name, but this one dude DM'd me and he was like, oh, great job. You nailed it. I'm sorry for everything I said. Not a day later, you son of a bitch. You were wrong. You lied about it all. Like on Twitter, or I'm sorry, on X, being like
Xing.
Xing. Oh! Get out of here, man. Whatever. Mike Smith, either Monty will be right or he will take a big L on the issue. Yeah. Charlie Kidd, it's a complicated transaction.
Oh, okay.
Guy, I'm married. I get complicated transactions. I hide golf club purchases all the time. I get it, man.
God, just like that. Oh.
It's not complicated. Do you have $120 million? Okay.
Well, they do. They raised it last year.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Go ahead and shut the fuck up. Oh, you do? Okay. It's probably too...
Don't play intramurals, brother.
Oh, you do have the $120 million.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead and give that to us, and we're going to keep your grant of rights, but you go ahead and play all your road games. I heard Stanford has some scheduling holes. I mean, I have a number. You want to call Mark Tessier-Levine? All right, that he got fired for ethics. Anyway, the point is, it doesn't matter. Stanford and Cal, they have scheduling issues. And by the way, Kirk Schultz is he's not a very good president, but I'm sure you could shyster him out of his money if you want to try.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Wasikowski. Eric Skeezer says it was great watching the coastal snobs get a lesson in business 101 by a bunch of farm boys from the flyover conferences.
Yep. Sitting on their John Deeres.
Look here, boy. I'm telling you right now, we're leaving the ACC.
Look here, boy.
Hey, boy. It's
we're all hat.
I don't even know.
In no Pac-12.
It's your favorite cattle farmer from the truck stop conference. We actually left. It would much more like, this is your elitist liberal from the Pac-12 that's now dead. We actually left the conference. But, here in California.
That's the untrained eye.
Trust me, we know how to do debt load. So if you get that $120 million, which, by the way, you won't. Anyway, my point is, give me a call. We can help you with the financing over here in California. Thanks for coming, though.
Yeah.
Whatever. Roundabout. Monty's southern accent reminds me of Foghorn Leghorn. Hey, boy. You don't even know what Foghorn. Shut up. CKS, my kids are in their 40s and 30s. Not worried they hear much worse. Okay, good. Mike Smith, we don't grown no tofu around here. We don't grow no tofu around here, boy.
So get your facts straight.
We're all drums and steak. Right. Sam Lott, what's up, dude? Construction work. If you can't hang, you could simply leave. Thanks.
Oh, boy. What did construction work say?
God.
Hey, boy, I'm out here on my D10 dozer.
Construction work. Construction work. Your mama, Andrew. We're doing mother jokes. Is that... Oh,
dude,
my God.
I didn't know we could get to this low of a level.
He said PG-17 or what? So much cursing, dude. Okay, my bad. I'll never say another fucking word. I mean, that's hey, man.
It was a slip of the tongue.
Andrew says the construction worker is complaining about foul language. That's my point. And I will not curse one more time in the next 5 minutes. John Dry, Trump is a Texas Tech fan. I'm moving on. Conference Commissioner Gumby, hook 'em, boy. Oh, Jesus. Andrew Streeter, my mom's dead. Be cool.
Damn.
With tsunami warning, fly over a country like New Brunswick, New Jersey. Exactly. Like and I'm asking for help on this. And hey, look, if you guys want to be of assistance, I'm all down for it. If somebody can tell me why flyover conference or truck stop conference is an actual insult.
Can you do something for me?
Yeah, I don't really understand it, dude.
What does that mean? Like if you were like, hey man, every town in your conference smells like manure. Okay, cool. Like I get it.
Yeah.
There's a driving range that I sometimes go to right next to a sewer plant.
Yeah.
I don't like going there.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway. This show probably got off the rails a little bit. Construction Work says, hey, bro, I'm sorry. Didn't mean anything by it. But his mom's dead. You know. Kev, aren't the populations of Utah and Iowa virtually identical?
No, sir. They are not.
They're not at all. They're not. They are not at all, by the way. NMAC, what value would Florida State add to any conference without a grant of rights? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
This is ultimately the argument. And in all seriousness, I want to update you guys on this because I actually think it's a hugely important conversation. There are reports today that the ACC is looking to add Stanford and Cal. I don't believe it. But there are big reporters today. One of the biggest questions in the ACC is, what is Florida State doing with their grant of rights? The fee to break the contract in the Mountain West is $17 million. In the ACC, it's $120 million. It's a lot of money. The grant of rights in the ACC runs through 2037. They're making $23 million a year per school. Florida State has been loudly complaining about that it's unfair that they make everybody the money in the conference and they get the least money.
Mm-hmm.
And that they should be in the Big Ten or they should be in the SEC. To which people immediately said, well, when's the last time you were truly relevant in football? And when's the last time you really made this conference money? Because isn't ACC short for already crowned Clemson? And didn't God make this conference
in God's
his
name, image, and likeness?
Dabo's the guy who's recently made the money in the conference.
Yeah.
And so the biggest complaint has been Florida State doesn't generate the most revenue in basketball. They don't generate the most revenue in recent days in football. And now the news comes out for the last, I would say 6 weeks, it's gotten really strong that Florida State is working in the private money sector. They had talked to JP Morgan Chase, many private money firms, to raise $120 million to pay the exit fee in the ACC, which does not explain how they're going to get out of their grant of rights, because by those who know and by sources who have told us 5 different ways in the TV industry, paying the $120 million according to the language in the grant of rights does not get you out of the grant of rights. The rest of the members of the conference would have to vote you out of the conference. And since Florida State has been traveling around talking to anybody who will listen, ripping all the other members of the ACC as poorly run, non-revenue generating members and believing that they should be at $35 million a season while everybody else is at 10 to 12 to make up for the shortfall. Nobody's quite sure how Florida State's getting out of their grant of rights, because they've had lawyers for a year partnered with the Virginias. By some reports, it's Florida State, Clemson, Virginia Tech, examining the grant of rights, looking for loopholes. For a year, they've been paying legal fees, and they haven't found a single way out of that contract. And just in case you didn't know, do you know where the ACC got their grant of rights from? Bob Bowlesby in the Big 12, who also has a bulletproof, as it's described, grant of rights. Florida State is not going anywhere unless they change their tune.
Yeah.
So the idea, and here's the biggest problem for Cal and Stanford, the idea that Cal and Stanford would join the ACC, one, I say they're not getting a full share. How could they? Two, even if full share money was available, who's providing it? Okay, so did ESPN step up and say, yeah, we'll pay for Cal and Stanford to be in the ACC? And then the other part of that is, how do you deal with the travel, the academics? Because remember, two of the most difficult academic institutions in the Pac-12, that'd be Stanford and Cal. And Stanford, the reason they're bad in basketball and football, they can't admit most people who apply. Stanford has one of the highest bar for admissions in the entire country. So you're going to travel, and let's be terribly optimistic. Cal and Stanford get $23 million full share in the ACC. What do they net on that $23 million a year? Half?
Maybe.
They're going to have to staff up infrastructure, which is what the Big 10 and the Big 12 have talked about. They have to staff up mental health, educational support, right? You got to pay people for that. So you're paying more human cost. You're certainly paying more airfare, private jet money, whatever you wind up chartering or whatever. My guess is you'll fly commercial. You're paying more room and board. You're paying more cargo because it's a longer flight. You can't box truck to Boise. You can't box truck to Cal or Utah, or it doesn't work that way for soccer, for rowing, for tennis, for golf. So the big question is, how much does Cal and Stanford net from joining the ACC? My guess is it's not half.
Yeah.
My guess is it's not half. So is it really worth Stanford and Cal joining that conference to, again, lose money? I have a hard time seeing that. A hard time, especially at Stanford, where they don't give a damn if you lose. They have a massive athletic endowment. I think last time I looked at it, isn't it over $1 billion?
Yeah.
Sitting in a pot to pay for athletics. They don't care if they win. They want to make engineers, and they want to make lawyers, and they want to make really smart dudes.
Yeah.
So they don't care if they win. You're telling me they're going to go travel their kids halfway across the country for 10 days at a time in secondary sports? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Andrew Streeter for $5. What choice do Bay Area schools really have at this point? ACC is in desperation move, and who is more desperate than Stanford and Cal right now? But I'm not trying to be a jerk. Stanford is not desperate. Honest to goodness, Stanford is not desperate. Cal, I think Cal's in real financial trouble.
Yeah.
But welcome to California. California's finances are a mess. But I don't have an answer for you because nobody seems to really have a grasp on where Cal and Stanford go. I don't think people know. Shane says Iowa was a bigger casual fan base, but they won't watch this show. We will. Okay. That's cool. I think I read that one. Gop for $2. I'm not a Cubs fan, but the Cubbies in Wrigley Field are national treasures. Hook 'em, boy.
Yeah.
What?
We have Alema Harrington sitting here.
Oh, Alema Harrington is sitting here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Alema Harrington.
Hello. I have enjoyed this thoroughly, and you're doing a great job. And everything that's happening is like Christmas for us in our industry because there's so much to talk about, both the reality and the speculation. And you've done a great job breaking it down. My father attended Stanford University. Of course, they have a completely different goal in mind with their athletics program, and there's times that they're successful, and that's great, but that is not very important to them. And so the points that you make are spot on, and it's just interesting to look at this whole thing kind of unravel and then come together at different places, and you find these 4 schools that are on the inside looking out. And speaking of the Pac-12 and 2 of the California schools, Northern Cal, SoCal good, no Cal no good, right? That's kind of the way it is right now. And that mass exodus it's been fun to watch, and I'm thrilled that BYU and Utah are reunited in the Big 12. And I think it's good for the state of Utah and athletics in the state of Utah. I'm excited, but I love the conversation. And I went through this. I want to say it was maybe 14 years ago. It might have been when there was all of that change, and there was these rumors BYU is going to the Big 12, and of course that didn't materialize. But I remember kind of the energy in our industry, in the talk radio industry, in the sports talk industry, and feeling that vibe again right now, and just grateful for the fact that BYU and Utah have both ended up in what seems to be at least a solid place in a conference that is the number 3 conference behind the SEC and the Big Ten. They are not those, but they are in a good place. And I like what the conference looks like, the Big 12 conference looks like right now.
Well, and it's funny, Alema, for those of you who don't know, Alema Harrington, is a BYU alum. This, the importance of Utah, and the quality of Utah football. And I think one of the things that I've defended for the better part of probably a year now is just the quality that BYU and Utah offer. And I think because of the brokenness of that Pac-12 TV contract dilemma, I don't think people fully understand the quality that Kyle Whittingham is as a football coach, but as a human being. Mm-hmm. I don't think people understand the depth and the quality of, now look at the 2 staffs. Look at the staff at BYU. That's one of the best staffs in the Big 12. And look at the quality and the consistency of the staff at Utah, Alema. Those are 2 really good football coaching staffs.
And I agree with you. I think they've both been underappreciated, and part of that is being in the Mountain West and in the Mountain West time zone. And people talk about the East Coast bias, which is a very real thing, and the majority of the population lives in those time zones anyway, and their opportunities. And I remember back in the days when I was playing in the 80s and we won a national championship, and there were still writers out there that had never watched a BYU game because it was just never convenient for them, either was not televised, or because of the time zone differences, they never had an opportunity to watch BYU live on television. And there's still some of that you deal with today, in spite of all of the technological breakthroughs and advances that there are as far as the consumption of sports the way that it is now. But there's still plenty of people that are not very familiar with the Utah brand. They might be a little more familiar with the BYU brand because of some of the accomplishments of the past, and some of those are far past, with Outland trophies and Doak Walker awards and O'Brien trophies and a national championship, those kinds of things. But that puts BYU in a category that is somewhat unique for a team that is out west or in the Mountain West. But for the most part, I think that the Big 12 conference is going to bolster BYU and Utah's presence and relevance because of their opportunity to be playing against teams that people out on the East Coast or in the Midwest are going to watch.
Yep. Alema Harrington's our guest. Thanks to our friends at TryDayTrading.com. Now, by the way, we're probably underselling the lead that we're giving away Texas at Baylor. It's the tickets that all of our viewers have asked us to give away. I think one of the coolest things, though, is that TryDay Trading is partnering with us on this game. And all you have to do is sign up for the $10 30-day trial membership. Now, Alema, you know this better than anybody because you're partnered with TryDay Trading. What do you get when you join this 30-day trial membership? What exactly do you get out of it?
Well, this is one of those things that it's an opportunity to do something you were probably going to do anyway, and in the process, you're going to have an opportunity to win tickets to this game. What you get with that $10 30-day trial is access to all of the resources that are provided by TryDay Trading if you were to sign up with the full program with TryDay Trading. So you get all the resources. You have the opportunity to meet with coaches and get personal coaching. You will be have access to the software, the proprietary software that is a game changer in day trading. And so all of those things become available to you, and you can make an informed decision on whether or not day trading is something that is going to work for you. And I tell people all the time, 30 days, just $10, and now an opportunity to win these tickets. $10 is going to give you an opportunity to have access to all of the resources necessary for you to make an informed decision on whether this thing is something that you can do or not. And more often than not, the people that I meet with and talk with that have tried this have decided, you know what, this is something that I can do. And they may have been apprehensive to begin with for a variety of reasons. Maybe I'm not, very proficient at math, or maybe I don't understand the stock market, or whatever the case may be. This is going to give you an opportunity to be hands-on and get exposed to everything that is provided in the TryDay Trading program, and you can make an informed decision on whether or not this is something you can do. And again, for the most part, the people that I've talked to, the people that I work with, when they go in and actually get kind of a hands-on with the TryDay Trading program, they're like, you know what, I can do this. And with the help of my personal coach, I absolutely can do this.
Yep, absolutely right. No obligation at the end of that 30 days, man. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But Alema, just like you, we don't have a viewer of this show who's gone through the first 30 days and stopped. It's $10 to see the rest of your life, man. It's $10. By the way, if I said to you, you can be in Waco for Texas Baylor for $10, you would absolutely do it. So Maybe that's your reason right there. But one of the things I want to ask you about, speaking of Texas Baylor, Utah and BYU, one of the things I'm really happy about is we are not going to be Oklahoma State and losing Bedlam. We will not lose this great rivalry. As a BYU alum, as somebody who is uniquely qualified to talk about it, how important is the Holy War? How important is BYU versus Utah?
This is huge, and one of the reasons why I'm thrilled. Now, aside from that, I love the University of Utah, and I don't know if that came off right, and maybe that's not entirely correct, but I have great respect and admiration for the University of Utah, and some of their guys, like Morgan Scally is one of my favorite people on this planet. And so when I look at the University of Utah, I'm looking over, and yeah, that's the rival that I grew up or I played against, and certainly those emotions run deep. But still, the University of Utah is a team that I have great respect and admiration for. Now, to be able to resurrect the Holy War and have those two teams, BYU and Utah, in the same conference again, gives us an opportunity here in the state of Utah to give people outside of our state, outside of our market, to be able to witness one of the great rivalries in college football. And that was something that was missed. And granted, yes, we played against the University of Utah. It got lopsided. That didn't help. And there were years that you missed. And those things, when you take years off, it kind of diminishes I think the value of what this game really means. But to have it back to a point where where it's back like it was in the WAC, back like it was in the Mountain West, where you are playing at times for an opportunity for a division championship to go to the Big 12 championship game. Like, I can't think of a better ending to all the chaos that has taken place than to have Utah back in the big, the same conference as BYU. This is probably, in my opinion, one of, if not the best parts about all of this.
Yeah, and I think it was very, for me, it was difficult to think we're not going to see that on a regular basis. Now to know, because I'm a huge Kalani Sitake believer. I believe that the changes he made, and you and I have talked about I think the word is courage, the courage it took to make those changes. The recruiting that we're seeing at BYU I think has been exceptionally strong. You look at the development, you look at how good this defense is going to be. Max Tooley, I think, is going to have a massive season. Like, I look at everything that this BYU program is doing, and I look at where Utah is, back-to-back conference champions. I can see a path here, Alema, where BYU and Utah are competing in a rivalry game for potentially a spot in a conference championship, or competing in a conference championship, which is probably way down the road. But to know that there's leverage or heat in a game like that, to think about Rice-Eccles or Lavelle Edwards Stadium tuned up, there are a few better venues. And this is something I think for everybody across this country who doesn't know. Alema, I think playing in front of a full Lavelle Edwards or a full Rice-Eccles, that's what college football is about.
Absolutely. And there are plenty of schools in the Big 12. And if you go and you list the size of stadiums, obviously BYU is going to be at the top of that list. And there's a lot of schools that play in smaller venues, and they're going to have opportunities, obviously, to come to Rice-Eccles or to come and play at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. But the people that are going to be able to witness that on television, that had no interest in watching a BYU game, but now they're playing, one of the teams that in the Big 12 that you're a fan of, they're going to get a chance to witness some pretty, I think, impressive and exciting football from the standpoint of the fans, whether it's the Rock or you're talking about the Muss. These are things that are part of college football that people outside of Utah can relate to, because everybody wants to declare that their fan base is the best. And BYU on a regular basis is at the top of the list for student body participation. Those things are, what you're looking for your program to have that exposure. And this is going to give the opportunity for both of these schools to represent their brand on a larger level. And that's great for the fan base, but it also bleeds into recruiting, and that's a big part of it as well. And I think Utah certainly in the Pac-12 has enjoyed that. They will as well in the Big 12. BYU is gonna realize, I think, some big benefits from being in the Big 12 on the recruiting front.
Real quick before we let you go, I want to go back to that Stanford thing, because I'm curious your thoughts. You went to BYU,
right?
BYU academics are not easy. You obviously in your family you have experience with Stanford. How difficult is it to imagine a Stanford going to Virginia for tennis or golf? Because I don't think these big moves, Alema, I don't think it necessarily impacts basketball or football travel. I mean, you're rolling out a semi-truck across the country as BYU makes a huge deal out of it. Great video and social work with their equipment guys. I don't think it's that big of a deal in football and basketball. I more worry about women's sports or secondary sports getting cut, because at Stanford, man, just taking tests is hard at Stanford. Like, how much impact do you think travel of that scale would have on a student athlete at Stanford?
It's interesting because there came a time with all the conference realignments, and it became evident that geography was becoming less and less important, and that teams were going to, span the nation as far as some of the travel that would take place. But as it relates to what Stanford's goals are, it becomes almost insignificant when you're talking about traveling for a sporting event like that, when you look at places that have shut down their athletic programs, and it's not because it won't be because, and you made a great point with the endowment that supports athletics at Stanford. It's not about the money, but it's about what the impact is on the student athlete there that looks at that phrase student athlete and emphasizes student before athlete. It's going to be Stanford. And so they'll be looking at some hard decisions about whether or not that's going to make sense for them. And it's going to affect or impact what conference they decide to join. And at the same time, even if they do make that decision, it could be, and it could end up being, a football and basketball only type of decision.
Man, it's just, it's incredible the impact and the history we've seen over the last 2 weeks in the world of college sports. It's crazy. And obviously, as I said before, we want to send you to see Texas and Baylor. Before we let you go, Alema, give me the best you got on tridaytrading.com. And I think one of the most fascinating things you've ever said on this show is it doesn't matter where the market is, up, down.
Yeah.
Day trading is always good.
Yeah, day trading is always good because you're looking for a volatile market. Because one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to get in and get out so quickly. Sometimes within 15 minutes, you'll make a trade and you'll get out. And that's the beauty of it. And it allows you to do something in your spare time, literally in a couple of hours a day, and you get to dictate that. And you can do it in the morning. For me, the markets that I'm working on are going to be in the morning. So I'll get up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, trade maybe an hour and a half, even 2 hours, and sometimes might have to wait on a trade. But you're able to get out, and you can still monitor those things. If you all you need is your Wi-Fi, you can do it on your phone, and you set the parameters so it will get you out when you need to get out. But the beauty of it is, and some of those things, as I'm talking about, it sounds like foreign language to somebody. It sounded like foreign language to me when I started here. And I was able to get the vocabulary and the understanding from my coach, who helped me understand exactly what I needed to know and understand how the proprietary software was going to help me achieve what we were trying to achieve as far as making money on those trades. And the beauty, and this is the thing that I would push as a final thing, the beauty of what Tri-Day Trading is doing, they are so confident that you will be successful doing this, that they are going to fund your trading account for you. And they will allow you, as you learn how to trade and get proficient, allow you to trade using their money, and you keep up to 80% of the profits. That to me is an expression of confidence that you will not find anywhere else, because they know that this program works and it can work for you. And all you have to do is go to tridaytrading.com, 10 days or $10 for a 30-day trial and an opportunity to win the tickets to go to the Texas Baylor game. It's a great deal.
Let's go. By the way, I always say this when you come on the show. You always look a little better every time you come on the show. The show clearly keeps you looking young.
Thank you very much. And if that's the case, then you can count on me continuing to make appearances on the Monty Show. And I love the show is great. I love sitting backstage and listening to the conversation. It's always great.
Hey, man, good to see you. Hope you and yours are awesome. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Alema Harrington, one of our favorite dudes, man. I say it every time he comes on. He had his perspective. Why does it not surprise me that he has got a great perspective on Stanford and the student experience at Stanford, you guys? That's why we've been saying all show long, like, the idea that Stanford is going to expose their students to that level of academic dysfunction is the word that comes to my mind. I just would find that surprising.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I think if you win at football, they are appreciative. I don't think that they're doing all that stuff. And it's the Bronco Mendenhall quote you love so much.
Yeah, football's fifth, bro.
Football's fifth, because at places like BYU and Stanford, you're not there to be a football star. You're there to be a better person, to grow as a human being, to grow your mind, to set yourself up into the future. And if you're a great football player, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's different at Cal. I think it's different at Florida State, clearly, or places where football is king and that's all that matters. And I get that. Stanford and BYU are different. I would even put Utah into that conversation. They're different.
Yeah. No doubt.
They love when you win. They're not going to be upset when you look how long David Shaw was there.
Yeah.
And David left because there wasn't a demand to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's different. So again, trydaytrading.com. We want it. This is the game you guys asked us for.
Yeah.
Texas at Baylor, September 23rd. You get a pair of tickets. All you have to do is go to trydaytrading.com, sign up for a $10 charitable donation. You give them $10. They give it to charity. It's a tax write-off for you. And then you get a 30-day free trial. At the end of that 30 days, walk away. You're done with it. But I'm telling you, it's the money you've always dreamed of, man. Like, and I'm a huge stock market guy. I'm a huge day trading guy. I believe it in 100%. Their traders make $1,000 a day doing it full time. And it's what Olema said. It's 2-3 hours in the morning if you're full time. The trades execute themselves because they have this proprietary software that knows everything you need to know. They teach you how to program it, and it does all the work for you. Don't take my word for it. TryDayTrading.com. And hey, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's all good. But you can win Texas at Baylor tickets. We'll announce the winner at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on Friday. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Eric says Wasikowski. I'll give you $50 if you say it right. Wasikowski. Eric Wasikowski. Eric Wasikowski.
Instead of giving us $50, go to trydaytrading.com. Try to win the tickets.
I'll give you $50 to say it right. Stanford, Notre Dame, or Stanford, FSU to the Big Ten to cap off realignment. I think Notre Dame, it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's going to be forced to join a conference. Scheduling is going to get too tough.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mark Stone for $2. Damn, a Lemak bro crush on that hair. He's one of the best looking dudes ever. You can't tell me he can be more tan than he is.
Yes.
No, he can't. You can't,
yes,
he is a specimen, dude. I'm telling you. Alema's like 30 years old and he's a specimen.
Stud.
The guy's amazing.
That's right, D.
B for $2. Stanford academics, stay hard.
Stay hard.
Dude, you're not even joking.
Yep.
You're not even joking. Mark Stone, hey, Florida State. We don't pull out around here. There it is.
There it is.
The daily reference.
See?
The daily reference. I love it. Eric Wasikowski says it was great watching the Coastal Snobs get a lesson in business 101 by a bunch of farm boys. I agree. By the way, where's that comment by Gopp? Here it is right here. I'm not a Cubs fan, but Cubbies and Wrigley. Yeah, they're down 3-0 at Citi Field in New York. Thanks.
Yeah, after, superhero Pete Alonso went way deep.
Dude, it's fine. Our web for $5. Dear FSU, you're doing this all wrong. Sincerely, San Diego State.
Jackass.
George says, who would voluntarily sign on the ACC grant of rights? No idea. But
A team that doesn't have a home?
Then there's that conversation. It's the equivalent of signing on to college football's Guantanamo. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, dude. You are not wrong. I think it's very difficult. It is very, very difficult. Notre Dame, the conference killer. If you put Notre Dame in the Big Ten, I don't know how you would pay them on par to what they're making now. That's what I'm saying. Ron Nolan, John Denver's real name is Henry John Deucin. Okay. Born in Air Force Base Hospital in Roswell, New Mexico. An alien? Could be.
Could be a skinwalker,
I just, to a place where I belong.
This is corny stuff.
West Virginia. What is Mountain Mama, though? I still don't know the answer to that question.
Human or non-human?
Forward-thinking trucker. Come and Go sells liquor. Gotta love that being a trucker. Come and Go got bought out by Maverick in our area. So, John Dry, what's up, John? If it was the tech, I'd take tickets. VodTech, it's not the tech. They get paid less and not as many people watch them.
Okay.
There you go. Construction work. Notre Dame kills the ACC. Well, it doesn't matter. They're not in football. Aaron Wilson, my guy, what's up? Can confirm post-Texas all sups is truck stop. Okay. I mean, Come and Go is a good
they're good little. Okay, here's the deal, though. I've never been to another convenience store that's got, the breakfast burrito game that Maverick has.
Maverick has incredible.
Like, I walk in there every day and I look at the hot case and I'm like, yeah, dude, you can't eat one because you're fat. Like, that's the problem, dude.
All right, you guys. So we have 10 minutes left to talk about TVs because I'm floating right now.
Okay, real quick.
Let's talk about TVs, shall we? Because here on the Monty program, presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy, the official energy provider of the Monty Show.
The Monty Show.
Was watching TV, and you guys know I cut the cord. I got rid of DirecTV.
Right.
By the way, are you a cable or satellite subscriber? In the comments after you hit the like button. So I got rid of DirecTV. I have a beautiful Samsung TV, 75 inches, power. Like, there's only one thing longer than the TV.
Can you measure it?
You get it. Plug in the Ethernet cable to the back of the TV. Turn on the Cubs baseball game. 3, 2, pick. Strike. He. Like totally buffering. Totally cutting. It's everything, like football, basket. Everything was choppy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do this. I dropped DirecTV. I feel less of a man already. I'm buying a new TV. Get on the Amazon app. My wife's out of town.
Get on the internet.
My wife's out of town. I am floating so bad.
Hurry up.
My wife's out of town. I buy a 75-inch Fire TV. It gets delivered yesterday. We install it, and it's amazing.
And it's very powerful.
It's amazing. I love it. I love it.
Not as much as you love the urinal, though.
I have to pee so bad. So in the comments section, how big is your TV?
Yeah.
Gary says I'm in the market for an 8K TV.
Bro.
The Monty Show, presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, UtahAdvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.